Stream is live.
Last week.
Hey everybody on Twitch and YouTube video on demand. This is episode 174 of the Crystal Chronicles, your Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast, recorded on 11/11/2021. Mino and Mark here with all your DissidiaFFOO news and talk. So feel free to hang out for the pre-show, about 10 minutes, or skip ahead till you see the intro. That is when the show starts. Of course, you can always go download the podcast format without the pre and post show. That is available to you.
I don't think you're live on YouTube yet.
All right. It may take a little more on YouTube. I don't know how that works. I don't know how that works. I think we are live on YouTube without the pre and post. Yeah, we're live on YouTube.
Okay.
We are live on YouTube, and I have that up as well.
Why don't I see it?
I just pulled it up, and it is live. Tree Void, Potocedar, how are you? We are live. Shadowheart must be on. Oh, yep, let me put on the multi-stream.
Okay.
And I believe I actually have membership working. You got notified on YouTube, but not Twitch. Twitch notification just went out. I just see it in the server. Twitch notification is out as well. So we should be on YouTube and on Twitch. I see people on both of those formats. I wonder why Cedar didn't come up on my multi-stream here. Yeah. How's everybody doing tonight? Theologica, Lord Touch Me, Shadowheart's here, Tree Void's here, Black Nero's here, Mango Cheese. Couldn't use that cheese on Intersecting Wills, right? Hey, Shadowheart just became a member on the YouTube. Woohoo! Woohoo! Hey, look at that. We even got the little pop-up. I got my Moogle. No zombie for me. Yes, I have customized our pop-ups. That is next level stream. We're streaming on two. How you doing, Mohammed? Lian, how you doing? We are streaming on two different platforms. Hey, how you doing? Crush, Ruko. Things are going great. Yeah, we are streaming on two different platforms. We got customized pop-up alerts. Shadowheart is the first member of the TCC YouTube Nation. Shadowheart, you now have, I believe, you have a badge and you have access to TCC emotes. So, congratulations. Congratulations. No, I have, there should be no sound every time there's an alert. Yeah, there you go. Crush. Thank you for the follow. See that? TCC Moogle popping up. No sound. We are not destroyed by the violence of the sound. Very nice. Yep. See Shadowheart using that. Yeah. Well, it's great. It pops up as worry mark on on the stream and not the actual emote. But if you're on YouTube, you can see the emote. Chad's worry mark. Laughing Man, thank you for following on Twitch. Crush and Laughing on Twitch, thank you for the follows. Appreciate that. Glad to have you with us on the Twitch every Thursday night, a little earlier for those of us. It's the exact same time for those of us who follow daylight savings time. I think a little later, a little early. I don't know. It's different. Feels good, Crush. It does feel good to be here. It's a lot of fun hanging out with us live. We are a podcast, so I think our podcast format, it's a little more accessible to actually listen to it as a podcast or a VOD, as opposed to perhaps a lot of other streams. K9word, thank you for the subscription. Appreciate that. Appreciate that, and I'm not sure why there's a Bob Ross there, but there was a tiny Bob Ross, and that makes me happy. I love Bob Ross. I just sit. I don't know about all you, but I actually have a Samsung Smart TV, and there is a Joy of Painting channel. All they play 24 hours a day. Bob Ross. I love, and my mom is a painter. My mom paints. She's an artist. She was an art teacher. I've never painted. I can't paint. I just like to sit. Are you supposed to be a? I don't know. I don't know. There's no guests anymore, Chinley. There's no guests. I don't remember what we were talking about. Did we have a conversation? I'm sorry. Jump in. The post show. We can talk if you're still awake. Oh, there was a joke with Mino. Okay. Sky Splits, thank you for becoming a member of our YouTube channel. Membership's like 99 cents, right? I think that's what I made it. I think I took the Black Nero model and made it 99 cents. So very accessible. You get some emotes, you get an icon, and you get our love. And isn't that worth 99 cents a month? For 99 cents a month, you can give Mino a little bit of hope. He's out there all by himself in the city of angels, and just for less than a cup of coffee, you can support your own Mino. Make sure that he has the life that he deserves. Silo, it's just Mino and me right now. I think we're digging it. Hey Ryan, Deptonidog. That's kind of an in real life friend inside joke. We were playing Final Fantasy 14 on Monday, and we got to the port in past Heavensward where you actually go fight and kill Needhog. So that was wow. Macnol, are you serious? Like a Starbucks cup of coffee here in the U.S. costs like $5 for like the regular coffee. If I get like it can cost up to like $10 to get actual coffee, like just like all the stuff they put in it, right? But like a normal coffee costs like $5. Like a McDonald's coffee, that's 99 cents. So that's what I'm saying equivalently here. So I don't know. I don't know where you get your coffee, but you're a little closer to the source than we are too. So maybe it's cheaper down there. Mino doesn't need hope. He needs a Jack and Coke, don't we all? But yeah, Death the Needhog. That was the best scene in the entire Heavensward expansion was them being Death to Needhog, because I felt like, yeah, right. We should have killed him. He needed to die. Horrible monster dragon. Did we kill him? Yeah, we killed him. Yeah, we completed that. Yeah, we did that. Mino's AFK for a second. He's going to come back, and we'll start the show. Do not fret. But we're having a good time in the pre-show. Glad all of you can be here. Yeah, overpriced. Yeah, well, it goes back, right? I very very rarely do I go to Starbucks. But yeah, normally I just make my own coffee, but still pretty. It's expensive. It's probably not too much, like 50 cents a cup. Sometimes you go to like the local diner, and you can get maybe a 50-cent cup of coffee, but man, yeah, at least $1. You're not going to a gas station or a McDonald's for less than $1 for a cup of coffee. You're not getting much of anything for less than $1 here in the United States. So.
I'm back. Why is there FF14 talk in our chat?
Yeah, because of one of my in real life friends came and was talking. Callie, what mount is that? What mount is the grinding the Needhog battle in Extreme? What mount do you get for that? Or did you get for that? I don't know how mounts work. I just buy mine. I got real money. Hey, Theologica, thank you for becoming a member. What? Appreciate all of you. Now that I figured out what I needed to do to make that happen, I just hadn't sent a welcome message. So come on, YouTube. So I wasn't able to actually turn it on. So even though I've been saying, hey, join it for a thing. So, ooh, the Golden Phoenix. That does sound fun. Laughing Man, thank you for the subscription. Hey, thank you for that Prime subscription. I really appreciate that. How awesome is that? Oh, Mino. Hey, Poto Cedar, of course, our TCC intern with the trivia. So how many episodes did the first season of the Crystal Chronicles have? How many episodes? Mino was playing Final Fantasy XIV with us, so we were all hating it together. How many episodes did season 1? We're probably in like season 4, 5 now. I just didn't change the season number. I just got lazy at some point. I went from like 2, 3, 4, but we've been on 4 for a long time. Maybe in Force era, because season 4 was LDBT era. We're really still, it's Lufania Plus, but it's not really a new era. So season 4 is a long era. Season 5, we'll change it to season 5 for the Force era, the Shinryu era. All right, I think Mino's ready. I'm ready. You're all here. It's good to have you here. Let's start the damn show. All right, in 5, 4, 3, 2. Welcome, everyone, to episode 174 of the Crystal Chronicles, your Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast, recorded this November 11th, 2021. Happy Veterans Day. Make sure you thank a veteran if you're here in the United States or wherever you are. If you have those people who serve in your military, thank them for their service. We do that here in the United States, and we make sure we celebrate our service people of all generations, living and gone. We're so glad you're here, live on Twitch and live on YouTube, 8 p.m. Central Daylight Time, or Central Standard Time now, excuse me, if you want to join us live sometime. If you are live with us, we did activate the YouTube membership. It's $1, just a way to support us. You get some emotes and badges. Theologica, Sky Split, and Shadowheart already doing that. Thank you for that. Laughing Man, K9 Word, thank you for the subscriptions on Twitch. That's another way to support us. Again, hey, if you just throw us a like, a follow, that really helps us. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, join our Discord, get the word out, share it if you want. We are all about bringing you your DissidiaFFOO news and talk. So let's get to it, right? Thank you all for being with us live. So last week, our TCC intern, Poto Cedar, always shares a little bit of trivia before and after the show. Last week, the trivia question, upsetting many of you, was how many BTs has Mark pulled on free pulls? So that means, I guess, free tickets and also free multis. How many BTs have I pulled on zero resource expenditures? The answer is 8. And that's too many. So I'm sorry. But I'm not sorry because I love my BTs. So, yeah, 8 is a lot. No one should have done that. Maybe you've done more, and if you have, let us know so other people will hate you more than they hate me. Mino, do you know how many free BTs you've gotten?
0.
What was that comment? Who gave us that question in the podcast questions? How many free ticket BTs have you gotten? It was like, none.
I forgot it was a regular. Was it Soge King or something?
How many free? It was like we've all gotten a few free BTs on daily tickets. Wait, what? No, we haven't. Like very few people have actually. Yeah, it's good times. This week's question, little trick question, so make sure you pay attention. How many episodes did the first season of TCC have? Season 1 of the Crystal Chronicles. We're currently in season 4. This is the LDBT plus era. Very long season. We'll probably get to season 5 with Force Weapons Shinryu difficulty. But how many episodes did the first season of the Crystal Chronicles have? It's a long time ago. So we'll let you know. As always, you can super chat if you want to let your get your question in, or Twitch. You can use the obviously if you sub, you can write a question there, we'll answer it, or you can use the question redemption thing, and we'll stop and ask your question, or go to our Discord and feel free to ask a question. But Mino's watching that when I'm not, and I'll watch it when Mino's not. So just please be patient with us, and we'll make sure. I haven't uploaded my I did upload my twins polls. Haven't uploaded my Garnet polls. So believe me, you'll be okay. Because Garnet did not treat me very well. Because I won tickets and I shouldn't have. So there's a disclaimer before we start the show that the Crystal Chronicles does not endorse Inkwelder's inclinations. So maybe some of you, if you didn't catch the full post show, we cut out for some reason at the end of the post show. I don't know why that happened, but I did upload the full post show to both YouTube and to your favorite podcast apps, to tccpodcast.com. So just to be clear, we love Inkwelder, support the Tonberry Troupe. I'm a patron. I hope you are there as well. All the good work they do. But we had to reset a few times last night. So Excalibur, we're season 4. It says it on the screen. Season 4. Seasons are made up. They don't really matter. So it's like just a thing we started doing. Macnell, our friend Macnell, DissidiaFFOO.com, has a great PSA for us. Now, because of the structure of the mission dungeons, this would be the Lighthouse, the Kate event. Some of you may not have gotten, if you have your Mog Pass, all of the character points available, 10,000 character points, just by actually going through the event once. So if you only gone through the event once, you may not have gotten all 10,000 of your character points. So make sure that you do that so you get all your character points. So please make sure that you get your character points. They will matter at some point. And if you are a free-to-play player, definitely make sure you're getting them. That's for sure. There was one little issue in game. The app was closing after Lon and Raid's BT effect was used. Hopefully that didn't happen to any of you. I did see some people in our Discord have that issue, so that was very frustrating. That has been fixed. Issues like that generally get fixed really quickly. We also have some level 80 awakening, so make sure you don't miss. If you're wondering, like, hey, why is that person's rank higher than mine? All my characters are level 80. Well, Fran and Papa Lamo also came with Lon and Rain, so you can upgrade all of them to 80, as well as Garnet here as of last night. All the costumes that are on sale are reruns: Garland, Fran, Rosa, Camlanot, and Garnet. Garland, Fran, Rosa, Camlanot, and Garnet. All available to you if you would like to buy those. And we got rewards for the Halloween retweet event. I think we needed 300 retweets, and we got 20 tickets and some armor tokens. There's the rewards, some gil, some EX power orb, EX guard orbs, power tokens, guard tokens, and 20 tickets. So, hey, free stuff is free stuff. Thank you, Squex, for free stuff always and forever. Well, let's talk about the events. We got 2 events to talk about. The first is the Queen of Charm event. I don't even remember what kind of this is. Was this a heretic event, Mino?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So we'll call this a heretic event. Those are the events you have to go in. You get locked out unless you use synergy characters, then you can steamroll through them. Pretty much you're steamrolling through all of it anyway, because at the pitch, the highest difficulty, it's only level 90. So it's pretty easy to steamroll level 90 at this point. And then Cosmos and Chaos in Lufania. I am looking forward to the day that's all consolidated to 3 difficulties. That will be very, very nice. So Queen of Charm event brought us a couple characters. Garland got his BT plus, and Lon and Rain got their LDBT. They also both got rework. So let's start with Garland. Chaos. Jack Garland. You may be familiar with his antics. Good old Jack. He calls bullshit a lot and listens to, some hip-hop rock. He's a good guy. Very, very fun. Looking forward to his game coming out here pretty soon. But Jack got a little bit of a rework, gives him some more brave hits, some more skill uses, make sure his damage doesn't suck too much. The big thing is he got a minor tweak to his burst. Of course, he has burst plus, so the extra turn in the burst phase, the extra use of the burst, all that kind of stuff. His burst now is 8 turns instead of 6-turn effect, but really only 2 changes, and they're significant changes. His brave damage up, if you don't remember, if you didn't have Garland before, his BT effect was very, very good in the BT era. Brave damage up, HP damage up, brave damage limit up, and overflow. All really good. It's a stacking mechanic, so it would grow as he broke after every ally takes a turn. So very, very useful. Resets when enemy takes a turn. So with those speedsters, with those multi-turn people, you can build that up and go that. Now with the BT plus, if you have him 3/3, if you have him green, his brave damage up is 100%, and his brave limit up is 50% at max stack. So very, very good. Really does give him enough to be viable in BT plus. Doesn't Garland's BT get power crept by Jet? Well, Garland's damage certainly is going to be power crept by Jet. We'll talk about Jet Pikachu pretty soon. If you 0 out of 3 of them, it really doesn't matter. So why are you even asking, Pikachu? Why are you even asking? Garland still plays pretty much the same. He has delays. He has okay damage, some single target, some AoE damage. But yeah, if you pair him with those brave hit damage characters, for example, like the twins got a lot of brave hits in their kit. You pair him with those characters, that brave damage up is going to be really good. If you're pairing him with brave gain characters up, obviously not as good. So really, if you want to green him, it's to run some characters that are going to do a lot more brave hits. I think he's still very viable. I don't necessarily think you should go out of your way to pull for him if you don't already have him. But I've always liked Garland in this game. I think he plays really good, and he's not terrible now with his BT+. Mino, what do you think?
Not much to say about these returning characters, but he's pretty solid, right? He still does what he does. He does it well. His BT plus auras are competitive. His delays are actually very good. His damage still holds up. He works well with a lot of recent characters like I don't know. I mean, off the top of my head, Kate, but
yes,
who I don't know. Either way, like he's just a solid character. I have no say one way or the other. I guess if you really like delays, you missed COD, you missed Quistis.
Yeah,
he'll be fine. There's not that many pros or cons I could think of.
Yeah, Excalibur, check out Excalibur and thank Excalibur for all the great infographics for the boss fights. Garland's delay utility pairs nicely with his BT plus mode too. Yeah, he's doing 6 delays in a row. And he is delaying on all of his hits, so that is really, really nice. Obviously, if you're fighting a boss that cannot be delayed, less effective, but he was still doing his good BT effect. At this point, if you're stacking BT effects, you're going to be okay. I think Jin Lee, check out Jin Lee on YouTube, our good friend Jin Lee, said, yeah, reverse Y'shtola. Y'shtola all about brave gains. Garland all about brave damage. That brings us to the twins, Lon and Rain from World of Final Fantasy, a game I've never played. Mino, have you played this game?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's Pokemon for Final Fantasy, right? And Chibis, whatever. They dance and stuff. It seems like a mess, but I know a lot of people love it, and they mispronounce Kistis's name in it, which irritates me. But
how dare you? How dare you?
So, if you're not familiar with the twins, Lon and Rain, they are cute. They are little chibis, and they sit on one thing, so you get both of them for the price of one. And they do big, fat, elemental brave damage. Remember, this is one of those few times for your summon boards, make sure you take the elemental summon boards, and it would be fire, ice, water, earth, and thunder. So those five definitely, well, it doesn't matter probably at the end of the day, but if you remember to do it, and if you hadn't summon boarded them like I hadn't, then character boarded them and summon boarded them. Yeah, give them the brave damage up for the elements that they are attuned to, which is those 5. So they do big fat AoE damage. That's their whole gimmick. Their LD enables them to do big fat elemental damage. It's all it does. It just does more big damage. I don't, there's really like, it does more damage. And then their BT effect gives them brave damage, HP, more freaking damage. So if you like characters that do big fat brave damage or big fat elemental damage, they're your characters. Full AoE damage. They are really, really good in multi-boss fights. They will thrive. They will be excellent against 3 bosses. They will be good against 2 bosses. They will not be great against 1 boss. So if we're fighting 3 bosses, they are the bee's knees. If they're fighting 2 bosses, they're going to be great damage dealers with their BT+. If you're doing 1 boss, you probably want to focus on other damage dealers besides them. You press buttons and they do damage. There's really, really nothing else to say about the twins. They're okay with their LD. I have their LD. I don't have their BT. Obviously, if you want to really ramp up a damage dealer at this point, BT plus damage dealers are doing a lot of damage. So, Mino, what are your thoughts?
Sure. CSAM redeemed a Q&A.
Okay, great.
He's asking, Mino, I thought BT was always better. Why are you comparing Garland to Quistis? And I said, well, when it comes to pulls, or BTs are a bigger investment.
Yeah.
So if you want to delay for your roster, it really is a decision on whether you want a minimal investment like Quistis or you want to go all in on delay with like Garland. And so when it comes to purely investing, that's up to the players, and I think that's a good thing to weigh in on, right? Like when it comes to pulling, LD characters and BT characters are comparable because you want to be like, do I just want to like ticket the LD or do I want to spend all the ingots for the BT plus? So I think when it comes to resource expenditure, that's a fair comparison. When it comes to power, Garland every time, in my opinion. Okay, so for twins, they're just really, really good at what they do, right? And like I think for quite a while they're gonna be top DPS for 3 targets.
Yeah.
But they don't remain on top forever, so that's something you want to keep track of. There are gonna be future BT characters who can exceed their damage not too far along into garbage time.
Just next month.
I don't know if I go that far, but yeah, there are fights down the line like months later, but again, right, garbage time that I've seen people bring twins to 3 enemy fights and they do great, right? They're great. And it's tough. I feel like this cycle really shows off why you would want this. First of all, I always keep a pocket AoE DPS on my roster. For a while before twins, it was Strago, right? Yep. Like anytime I saw a fight with 3 enemy waves, I would bring Strago because of his 100% AoE, and I'm sure everyone else has their equivalents. Like Mark, some people bring Vivi, right?
Yeah.
Mark, when you
I bring Renoa. Never goes well, but I do it anyway. It's painful actually, but
and right. So this cycle kind of shows off why you would want to go all in on something like this because, well, first of all, twins are the first and probably last we'll see of a 2-week synergy character being just amazing with LD only. Like with LD only, they will slaughter their cycle. Hell, just Twins' friend will slaughter.
Well, yeah, you don't even need the twins. Twins' friend is doing a big chunk of the damage on all these fights.
Right. And so I don't know how many of you out there are actually attempting these fights without twins in your party or friends, but it's completely fucking different. So like the both the fights we're talking about, twins' friend alone can do about 40 to 50%
Yeah.
of the damage in their 5 turns. Like if you just drop all their LDs and maybe their BT effect, it's like bam, there goes half the damage you need. And I like to bring this up because this is the perfect opportunity to see why is DPS so important. To all these old boomer players who say damage doesn't matter. It matters because you are skipping so many mechanics. And
Yes. You are
yes,
literally skipping mechanics with the twins damage window.
yes, you are skipping so many fucking mechanics.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And so like I don't know if I want to talk about it now or when we get to the fight, but like the perfect example is this latest fight we had, Garnet's
Yeah.
IW with the 3 ant lions, right? Like, the defense spikes, it gets really crazy. And depending on whether or not you have twins, you have a lot of wiggle room with who you bring to that fight. So I've seen like you can bring twins and then you can bring like wall or so I think someone brought like wall and Porum for pure safety. So like the the HP poison never hurt them. They never had any struggles and twins could carry the damage all the way through. Or if you don't have twins, you're much more limited on who you can bring when it comes to damage, right? I think a lot of people without twins leaned on Ace.
Yeah,
Uh,
Dystopia, I don't know if this is Clay or Bard. Cozy, thank you for the subscription. Appreciate that. I don't Dystopia. I don't know if that's Clay or Bard. Is trying to clarify. People say that damage doesn't matter. I've never heard that. We hear it a lot.
yeah, we
But
hear it a lot.
phrase it how we hear it. We don't necessarily hear it. Damage doesn't matter, but it kind of comes out like well, you talk about it, Mina. How does it like pop up in the community when what you're talking about damage not mattering?
Oh, okay. So like I remember. So for example, I was talking to somebody about character sagas.
Yeah,
That's been like the hot topic of the fucking week. And I'll be like, you can replace your saga character with almost anybody, and you can have an easier run, right? Like
yeah,
your saga character is only doing less than 10% of the total damage of the fight. I was like, I tried your fight with your saga character, and the damage output is pathetic. And like the meta slash synergy characters are carrying their damage so hard. And that person responded, well, damage doesn't really matter. Or like hell, we were even talking FF14, and it was like, oh, as long as the fight gets done, damage doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much damage I'm doing. Like, as long as I do the mechanics. And that's
right.
something that translates to Defo as well, right?
Yeah,
They're like, oh, as long as the orb is getting checked, the fight will be beaten eventually. Damage doesn't matter. That's something a lot of people say. And so a lot of people don't understand that pump damage ignores mechanics. So, like I said, the antlion fight's perfect because if you bring a twin's friend, you literally ignore half the fight. You cut the fight in half. You ignore all the defense spikes. You ignore all that fucking HP poison coming your way. You gotta heal. You ignore all the fucking like thresholds because you could do it in like a burst or summon window and then just annihilate the boss. Like, I it usually tends to be older players who say this. These are also the same people who don't like turn counts. They're like, I don't understand why turn counts exist. Like, if I want to bring a full tank team and do
yeah,
it in 100 turns, that should be
exactly.
rewarded, right? Like, this
You
is such an
you
old
always
school.
have to do damage, right? I mean that you always have to do damage, and oh, thank you, CSAM, for the 2 gifted subs. Appreciate that, buddy. But yeah, you always have to do damage, and your damage output does matter. And in some cases, yes, you can still beat the fight, but in some of these fights that we've had this last week, these 2 fights we're going to talk about today, you're talking about a 15-minute fight versus a 40-minute fight.
Yes,
So,
yes.
and who knows how many resets. And so, that's one thing to consider. But yeah, sometimes if you don't have the damage check, you just can't beat the fight. Yeah.
It's not even that. It's just people don't realize the utility of just overwhelming with damage.
Yeah.
So, for example, let's take the Lamia fight. She keeps summoning ads. You either need to take a disabler to make sure those ads don't kill you, or just bring enough damage to kill them before they can do anything.
Right.
That like enough damage is equal to utility. And same with the ant lions. You could, like bring ways to overcome their defense. You could like dispel their defense buff. You could bring a lot of attack up. You can bring like defense so they don't kill you, or you could just melt them in four button presses. So like that's just something that I think a lot of people need to internalize, and this is the perfect cycle to show it. Twins is
Yeah.
all about, if you have twins, you don't have to do mechanics. You can just fucking murder them. And like I know there was FF14 talk earlier. People were saying they're farming, these old primals for the mounts. The reason you can do that is because you have so much damage now. You don't have to do the mechanics.
Right.
You can just go in and kill the boss in like 2 minutes. Like you don't have to learn the fight. You're just farming easy. So like right, like twins I would consider if you really do like this style. Like if this cycle is appealing to you, like look, I don't have to deal with anything, I can melt them all, and I'm sure the boss rush is going to be the same too.
Yeah.
Lots of 3
Oh,
man
yes.
waves.
And twins will consistently be good for boss rush, I think, just because of that. It's all about trying to get as much damage out as possible and also deal with mechanics. So they often shine, I believe, in boss rush. I think it was Persona 2 Best Persona asking about, is twins a good investment if I'm skipping jet, or if I don't want to pull for best dad. I guess my suggestion, mostly at this point, we've had either utility or support BT pluses. I'm even going to throw Ace and Vayne and Cloud of Darkness and Garland and Zidane in the kind of more utility versus pure damage. They're doing fine damage, but twins are obviously doing a lot more damage than any of those characters. Jet, and then moving ahead towards Machina, who's not for a few more. Machina's not for a few more months, a couple more months. All three of those are doing massive. They're just pure damage BT pluses. So I think my suggestion would be maybe target one of those kind of as your early damage BT plus. I don't know what your thoughts on that are, Mino.
Oh, D Kapow brings up a good point in chat while I was ranting, and he said that what you usually hear in this community are people saying this guy only does damage.
Yeah.
Like this unit
they're
is
only a damage
just
dealer.
a selfish DPS, just damage. Damage is very skippable, dime a dozen, and that's why these are all the people that say damage doesn't matter. Right. And so, and I'm just saying, like, big damage also means a wider variety of people you can bring to these teams. Like, there's so many people in the community. I was even seeing in main core today, people are looking forward to garbage time because they're saying then they can bring whatever wacky characters they want. Well, a lot of damage also enables that, so it's a consideration. But sorry, what was your original question?
No, just kind of asking, what's your thoughts about a BT plus? Oh, there's only 2 more boss rushes. Black Nero says after Orin. Okay, including Orin. So yeah, but they'll be great in those 2 events, right? So yeah, no, there you go. Get your money's worth. No, but in terms of, is it worth it to invest in this early stage in a damage dealing BT plus? Or what are your plans for investing in a damage dealing BT plus early on?
I mean, why not? It's not like they don't have the auras. The whole point of BT Plus is just to have those auras sitting there. Also, it is a full BT phase of 100% AoE damage.
Yeah.
That is a lot.
Oh, yeah, their BT phase is better than Bartz's, that's for sure.
Yeah. I don't think any BT Plus is a terrible investment. I know BC is going to come up and say, like, Arden and Shantoto and Lightning are the ones that always get thrown around.
Yeah.
But until we get there, I don't think there's a bad investment yet. And I mean, we're entering fucking garbage time in a month. Like, what do people care?
Yeah, we're
like,
not far out. Yeah.
If you like the twins, use the twins, right? Yeah. Like, but I will say that remember synergy bias.
Yes.
And remember, they're probably not going to be hitting like this outside their 2-week cycle moving forward.
Well, and certainly, don't chase them. Yeah, Golbez, poor dumb Golbez.
Poor dumb
Chad Golbez, it's not doing so good. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't chase them or pull for them just because they're great damage dealers. You don't need them. A Twins Friend is great for this cycle. That's going to be good enough. There are other things for the boss rush that you'll be able to use as well. But if you really like the AoE damage dealing, if you really like World of Final Fantasy, yeah, you get them, green them. Why not? Just kind of be thinking about greens in terms of, what are my favorites? Who are the characters I'm most interested in? Looking forward. So, looking at the podcast poll. So, first of all, thank you, TonberryTroupe.com. Beautiful infographics. You can check out all the kits for Garland and Lon and Rain. TonberryTroupe.com. Thank you, Quetzalma and J.A. our mod for MateriaBot podcast polls. And check out that on your own server. If you have a Discord server, you can add these to it through MateriaBot. Add MateriaBot and support them. But looking at Garland, a lot of people skipping. Most people who had Garland were already, or who were going to green Garland already had Garland. So 1 pity, 1 LD pity, 3 gems, 5 tickets, 149 skips. pretty common. For the Twins, 10 people going to pity their BT right out the bat on the initial banner. 18 people pitying the LD, 7 people using gems, 96 tickets, 46 skips. So really a lot of people going in on Twins. That surprises me because these are not the hardest of the Lufanias that we've had. They're still kind of hard, but they're certainly not the most difficult. But hey, a lot of fans. I know a lot of fans of Final Fantasy, World of Final Fantasy. A lot of people played that game. And I think some people, that was probably your first foray into the world of Final Fantasy. So, not mine, that's for sure. But for those, I don't even know what system was that on. What was that game on? What systems was that game on?
PSP first, or PS Vita first.
Oh, it was on the Vita. Okay, interesting.
And then it dropped for PS3 and PS4. I believe there's a port. I think there's a PC port as well. I think. Let me check. But yeah, PS Vita launch.
Got it. Can you get away with only pulling favorites for 5 months? Yeah.
I think so. Oh yeah, it's on PC.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
And
like we're in garbage time now. Yeah, like we're getting close.
Like, we might be exaggerating it because we haven't personally experienced it. But when all of main core JP are like one-shotting everything and falling asleep,
yeah. Okay, so
then it's probably a non-issue.
So to be fair, I was just looking at the calendar moving ahead. If you are a veteran player with a lot of characters already, yes, you'll probably be fine doing 1 or 2 pulls a month. If you're a new player, no, you're going to need to start pulling to get your roster up to speed. But if you're a veteran, I mean, most of the BT pluses that I want to realize, I already have. I'm not going to be pulling for them. There's very few new BTs that I'm chasing or want to fully realize. Very, very few. There's very, very few must-have characters at this point. Obviously, yeah, once you get 3 or 4 BT pluses in your roster, stacking BT pluses really does burn through the era, and we're going to get C90 quick, and a lot of characters that already exist are just going to get fast upgrades, and a lot of people are going to be usable. So, I mean, yeah, look at the calendar, but you could I mean, I know Black Nero, our friend who plays, check out Black Nero on YouTube, our friend who plays JP, and a lot of our friends who play JP saved a lot of resources in this era because you could get away with really not pulling. There wasn't.
Yes.
Obviously, this first couple months, there's some really pain in the butt fights. We still have. We still have this boss rush, which is not going to be a cakewalk. We still have Transcendence Tier 6, which is not going to be a cakewalk unless you have Rain Smile Barts. I think that burns through it pretty fast. And then Shiva, Ultimate Shiva is going to be a pain, or Divine Shiva is going to be a pain in the butt unless you have Jet. So, yeah.
I remember. So I think BC's been playing JP for since like year two
Yeah.
or something. Very long time, several years. He said during this upcoming garbage time, he saved more gems than he's ever saved,
Yeah.
like in his entire Defo career. That's including GL. So
I
like,
think he may have almost like surpassed his GL horde at one time in the
yeah,
JP
yeah,
version of
yeah.
the game.
And like I think a lot of people, well, he wasn't the only one. I don't want to say a lot, but there
Yeah.
were a handful of people that echoed that sentiment that I talked to. Like like JP players don't tend to hoard
Yeah.
because they don't have the foresight. So like when they see something potentially good or fun, they're like, fuck it, I'll pull. And so during this stretch, um there were a good amount of people who had the biggest hordes they've ever had in the game, and there were JP content creators, not English speaking
Right.
JP content creators, like legit JP content creators, literally making videos complaining that the game was too easy. So,
Well,
like,
and there are,
this,
I mean, just looking ahead, there are really good characters. Obviously,
yeah,
we just talked about Jet and Machina, Locke. I mean, Locke's stupid broken. Jet and Machina are doing crazy damage. Zack and Snow, Ico even making you unkillable. I but even characters like I was trying to think of even like Locke. You don't need Locke to do anything. If you get Locke, he's going to murder things for 6 months. Like so, and there's a lot of other good LDs in this time that hey, yeah, I mean, there's just looking down the list. There's a lot of good LDs coming that are gonna. But the problem is we're also getting a lot of return characters with their C90s that are also very viable. So
very
it
strong,
just
yeah.
opens up. It just becomes as our good friend Strafe, one of our mods and part of our inner circle, says it's time to hoard. And given the needed resources for force weapons,
So,
don't you got to find a balance. You got to pull enough where you're enjoying the game, where you're enjoying some new toys. You got to BT plus enough where you're still enjoying some things, but yeah, you don't need to pull on every single banner, every single month, every single cycle. You can really pick and choose at your discretion. Who am I most interested in? Who do I want to use? And that's always been the game, but it's just going to be you can really ride a few characters moving forward. Not quite RNA, a friend RNA era, but
for sure, yeah.
we just have a lot more characters than we did back then, and there's a lot more
And
characters that are viable.
and the thing is, so I do want to say that this is considered an unprecedented stretch of garbage time, the longest and easiest stretch of the
Yeah.
game ever reported, according to all sources that experienced it. But also, so Macnell's saying I'm reverse doom posting this era. That's part of my plan. All
Yeah.
right. So I'm taunting Square Enix because I am telling everyone to hoard and not spend during this time because one, we have foresight. And now that people have seen that force weapons cost more, they're probably going to be naturally inclined to do that anyways when they don't have to. So I'm either saying, hey, Squex, either speed up our foresight or give us GL exclusive Equinox
Yep.
bullshit or Abyss
Yes.
to make
Hopefully.
us pull.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
like they did for the Dullahans and stuff like
Yep.
that. Like there are certain times where they drop GL exclusive stuff that kind of remind you, hey, you have holes in your roster.
Yep.
Or hey, you thought you're gonna have an easy month. Here's some relatively challenging content that'll get people to pull.
Hey, you thought you were going to cheese Garnet's Lufania with Yuffie.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah,
Talk
Macnell,
about
I
that.
know I'm reverse doom posting it, but I am 100% doing it on purpose because it's basically like Squex, you better fucking throw a wrench in our plans. You better throw us some twists, or the spending is gonna go down. And I know, thanks to those JP content creators that were making those videos comparing the earnings of garbage time, that spending did go down in garbage time. There's no way GL is not going to be hurting unless they introduce some shit as
Yeah.
well. So we'll see.
Hey, thank
False
you.
report.
Thank you to Raw Life from the Livestream Defo. Check out Livestream Defo. They meet every Monday night and do a great stream. Our friends Raw Life, Blartanian, sometimes some girl is there, and type Zoe. And so thank you for that gift sub to Indolent Lard, and check out Indolent Lard on YouTube as well, a good friend of ours. So, yeah. Yeah, went to my fellow. I've been. I used Zidane recently in this last quest. So full Final Fantasy IX team. So that was a lot of fun. Raw Life. Hope you got your Zidane going on too. But let's talk about this mission dungeon fight. The Queen of Charm. You had to fight one Lamia and two mannequins, and she just pops those mannequins back up like they're going out of style there. The Lamia has a great big bunch of HP. Mino, I'm echoing in your mic there, so.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah.
I didn't change anything.
Oh, okay. So we'll play by ear. But then a Warrior of Light mannequin and a Penello mannequin that have access to their LDs. So that sucks for us. The Lufania orb appears at the battle, disappears at 49%, and does not return. It increases by 8 when the player deals at least 850,000 damage across all targets, but in one turn. Obviously, the best way to do that is through BT pluses, or the twins just avoid that. I don't believe you can. They get HP and brave damage immunity for launches. So that doesn't really help unless you're bypassing it with Kate Sith. So you can kind of bypass that with the launch effect. So you can use Reigns in this event. You just have to be a little bit more focused on it. The Lamia Queen does have that allure attack, so she can kind of paralyze you for one turn. They have their standard brave reductions. She revives the mannequins a lot. She does have that consecutive turn thing, so if you take 10 consecutive actions before her, she will take an instant turn, cleanse all her debuffs, and then whatever she was going to do, she's going to do. Sometimes it's resummoning the ads, sometimes it's killing you. So be careful with that. Let her have an action every once in a while. My advice to you is don't let the ads attack, because they do horrible LD attacks. They are more likely to kill you than the Lamia Queen, but you can survive it with some mitigation. The best way to tackle this fight, in my opinion, was just to disable them with Arciela, right? Arciela and Kefka. HP attack disable. Completely shut down the fight. Arciela completely shuts down the fight. Kefka completely can shut down the fight. Agrius can shut down the fight. Takes a little bit more finesse with Agrius, but her abilities all shut down the fight as well. So they're never doing that. You can also delay and delete the mannequins, so they never have a chance to attack you. That's another way to do that as well. But yeah. Man, I used Arciela, and it was very, very. I did a couple different runs, but yeah, the run with Arciela. If you don't want to have any problem with this fight, bring Arciela or bring Kefka. I would prefer Arciela because she actually does some support to the party, but both of them doing really good. Agrius also a really good option. Just completely lock them down so that they're not hurting you. Mino, what are your thoughts about this fight? Gotta bring big AoE damage too to hit that orb requirement.
So I really like this cycle of fights. Pearson's asking, I really dislike these give a boss a turn fights. Do these stop, or is this a new normal?
Yeah.
It's kind of a new normal, but it gets more manageable.
Yeah.
As you go, like
get used to giving the boss a turn. Just learn how to play it. Yep.
It's not the end of the world later.
You can't delete and delay everything. You gotta learn how to take a hit every once in a while.
I really like this fight in the next one. I'm sure I'll like the boss rush as well. This one is they're trying different things, which I really like. So like as you said, the main threat of this fight isn't the boss itself. It's the ads it summons, which is really cool. And when it hits thresholds, it summons the ads again. So like I always thought I thought the design was pretty cool. I like that the orb is front loaded.
Yes.
Again, it's very interesting how they're promoting twins, and it really is do a lot of damage right off the bat, no setup. Like that's the twin specialty. Like no setup, do tons of damage.
Yeah, if you have a green twins, this cycle's not going to be an issue for you. I mean,
If you have LD twins,
yeah.
I think you're fine.
But it's going to be, you need a little bit more help with an LD. But yeah, if you have their burst phase does so much damage, it's ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think this cycle is tuned pretty okay. Maybe. I don't know if you guys want to disagree with me. If you do, I'll read the comments. But
Yeah.
basically, it's if you have the synergy,
I like it.
you don't have to think about it. If you don't, there's some thought going into these fights. Like these mechanics are not negligible. You got to deal with them, and they're interesting mechanics.
I would agree. I think this cycle. Hey, thank you, Not That Shaman, for following. I think this cycle is a little bit more in the sweet spot than the previous cycle, or kind of the garbage time. Hey, just bring anybody, and then we get all the saga runners telling us how great somebody is, right? Pick a character. Yeah, everybody's great in their C90. Yeah, we get it. Everybody's great in their C90. Who cares? Everybody's great in Cosmos too. That doesn't mean anything. But I think this is kind of the sweet spot. Some interesting mechanics, interesting gimmicks. Yeah, if you got synergy, it will stomp it. But you can also go about it on a whole bunch of interesting ways. So
it's interesting in the way. So I think what I was complaining about last week is that even if you don't take the easy way out, the Vayne fights were not interesting. So, like,
right.
Even if I did it the hard way,
correct,
it wasn't interesting. But here, like, this is the perfect balance because you could take the easy way out, or if you're one of those crazy people who like a challenge or like to deal with the mechanics, it's there. So you have the option to choose how you want to engage the game. Either you play with the mechanics or you ignore the mechanics. So yeah. I think that's the ideal balance.
Well, if you're struggling with this, DissidiaFFOO.com, our good friend Macnell did the boss guide. We also have a great infographic from Excalibur. I believe that's also on there. It's also on our thing. And our friend Destroth has been doing a really cool kind of guide with some different kind of runs that he did. Scott Ong, of course, also has a lot of different runs. You can check out all the runs. We have our own thread. If you're needing help, jump on. We got a lot of great people that can help you out. Yeah, well, let's transition because one of the things I want to talk about is, if I can pull up my outline here, is a new TCC challenge format. So we do have TCC challenges going on. You can join our Discord, find out that. Of course, you can just check out TCC challenge on DissidiaFFOO.com. So I think pretty much moving forward, to really hammer in the fact that, yeah, if you at me and show me, hey, look, I beat this really hard fight with 3 BT pluses, I will not be impressed. I will congratulate you and good on you. Like, beat it however you can beat it, right? No shame. Like we're not, there's no like, oh, we're better than you because we didn't know. Like, beat the fight however you want to beat it. Like, I'm not going to like throw you a party if you use 3 BT pluses, because I'm not going to throw you a party if you used RNA, a friend RNA either. But so the new TCC challenge model is no BT plus, no boosted. So again, the idea of, do you have to pull and do you have to have fully invested characters to do that? So no BT plus, no boosted. If you just want to have fun, and to give yourself a challenge, just don't use BT pluses. And if you want to do the extreme, it's no BT or BT plus. So no BT. So that's the same for the for this fight, the Charm, the Heretic fight, and also for Garnet's Intersecting Wills Lufania Plus. That is the TCC challenge. If you fail in life, if your run doesn't impress Mark, yeah, that's true. Indolent Lard, yeah, 3 BT pluses, full force weapons, woo! But yeah, and they are as Clay. Check out Dystopia on YouTube. As Clay mentioned, it's a lot harder. If you don't use BT pluses. This fight, the Lamnia Queen, much harder if you don't use BT pluses. Thankfully, you can still use a friend, so that deals with a lot of the mechanics right there. But friend, whatever thing. So, have you done any BT pluses recently, Mino?
My last one was Ace,
Yeah.
so wasn't that the last one before Twins? I think.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. But I don't. Well, of course I'm gonna do Jacked, and then I'm gonna have to really think who I do afterwards. Toto for sure, and then we'll try to write it out. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like trying to transition into hibernation mode already.
Right.
Like I'm trying to enter horde mode as soon as possible because
Are
I know.
are
Huh?
you hoarding resources or hoarding BT plus resources too?
Everything.
Everything. Everything.
I'm gonna see what I can get away with moving forward, and just because the the timing's right.
Yeah.
Holidays are coming up. I'm always busy during the holidays. It's the end of the year, which means busy at work as well. And you've got like SMT5 comes out tonight.
Yeah.
Uh, Endwalker comes out in a month. I'm gonna be going back to the rating, so. I'm slowly transitioning to like maintenance mode in Defo, which is perfectly fine, right? Like again, you guys, it's okay to take the game in moderation. I've seen some community regulars saying they're burning out already. It's okay to sometimes take the easy route for a while, right? And so like I'm enjoying the game as it is. That's why I think Twin Cycle it's great. I can either blow past it like I did the Lamia fight, or I could choose to challenge myself like I did the Antlion fight.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to do Inkwelder's question now or later when we do questions?
Oh, we could do it now. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
So,
I thought we were gonna do it quick. Okay,
our friend Inkwelder, TonberryTroupe.com. What do you think is the absolute best way? And I do have the video clip, so what do you think is the best way to help someone with their first foray into Lufania Plus?
You want to go first? So what do you think he's asking here? Like one single piece of advice? What is the best piece of advice to give?
What do you think is the absolute best way to help someone with their first Lufania Plus?
You have an answer ready?
Yeah, I think my answer for people, because we see this in our Discord, people who are new to the game jump in. Hey, I got to beat this event. It's disappearing in 2 weeks. How long have you been playing? 2 weeks. Oh, relax, beat some content, and start small. Start with some older Lufania Pluses. Get a sense of the mechanics. Don't bring your newest characters. If you're brand new, then you have to. But kind of see how the gimmick works. Build up a little bit before you launch into it. Watch some other people do it. See kind of how it plays out. But it is really hard, I think, in this game which is existing right now to jump into. From starting day one, all the old content's you're just going to stomp through it. And so you're not going to learn how to play by playing anything below Lufania. And then Lufania Plus is such a big jump from all the other content that you're stomping that, yeah, it's going to be a way for you just to kind of experience some Lufanias first. Go back and do some of that older content before you jump into the brand new content. That being said, if you pull on the thing and you're able to fully upgrade, I think that's the best advice. Fully upgrade your characters. Fully pull and upgrade your characters. Don't do Lufania Plus until all of your full team is fully upgraded, has all their summon boards equipped, all their passives, artifacts, whatever. They don't necessarily need spheres and perfect arts, but they need to have all their weapons. They need to have all their weapon passives. They need to have all their summon boards. Maybe blue armor, maybe, green BT plus, depending on who you're using. Before you even try it. And then, give it a try. And don't, the other thing I think we see a lot, don't come and ask how to beat it. Just try. And then play it a few times and see, okay, what's going wrong? Mix something up, try it again, and then come to us and say, hey, I've done this a few times. I don't get it. What's going on? I'm having trouble here. And there's people that are going to help you. But a lot of people, I think, just don't, once they're ready, and by ready, I mean, I have all these characters. I got a good bunch of characters fully maxed out. The best thing you can do is just try. Just go into the fight, and see how it works, as opposed to saying, like John Belmont, the most common answer is, do you have X character? Bring Rain's Mao. Bring Bart's BT plus. Yeah, that doesn't work for everybody, obviously. So get in, see how it works, play around with it. If you lose a few times, put it down, walk away, and try it again. Yeah, there's no harm in losing, but you're gonna have to. I mean, you're just there's nothing in the game that teaches you how to do the most difficult content if you are a brand new player. That's for sure. So, Mina, what are your thoughts?
All right, I got a short answer and a long answer. The short answer is team build. When you're building your team for the fight,
Yeah.
build it out of the last 2 months worth of characters. And Macnell told me to specify that. That means who got a new weapon
Yes.
in the last 2 months.
Yeah.
If you do that, that's like the easiest thing to do. Like everyone's like, do you have X character? Do you have X character? Look, if you build a team from the last like 2 months of people who got LDs and BT pluses, you're going to do fine, because the fights are not only tuned to these people, but also like that's how most people beat it. There's a lot of like big brain, quote unquote, big brain people on main court who are always like building teams. But then when I look at the clears, it's always like synergy characters, 2-week synergy characters, very, very recent characters, even saga runners. It's like I believe like the Shulk fight is like Freya, but with Shulk and Vayne, Green Vayne, So it's like as long as you build your team out of the most recent characters, I think that's the best advice you can give anybody. That's the easiest answer. One sentence. Hey, I'm having trouble with the antlion fight. What's your advice? Okay, so look at the fight. What do you need? Then pick from the characters that got a new weapon in the last 2 months. Don't look at the 150 character roster. That's not real. Look at the last 8 characters that released. And then any combination of those 8 characters, you're probably going to be fucking fine. Like, what is this fight? This fight is Garnet plus anybody and you're golden. Twins plus anybody and you're golden.
Garnet twins. Yeah, you just beat it. Yeah, you don't.
Yeah, your other team, your other fucking teammates don't even fucking matter. Like we can look in the TCC.
Thank you, Ice Ranger, for the follow.
Event thread, and most of that is Garnet plus twins. Like, come on, like don't talk about team building. It's whoever's new is good. That's the easiest fucking advice to give anyone.
This is a gotcha game. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Or just double twins it, as Deathdraw said. Right, yeah, I tried that. Twins party, twins friend, you don't need anybody else. Everyone else is extra.
Yeah.
They're just there to take up space or heal.
Popping damage. Yeah, heal, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's it. But the long answer is to learn the game. The people that I see trying Lufania Plus and consistently struggling are the same people who say they don't have the time or desire to study the game. They don't want to know how the new character that just came out worked. They want to be told they want to be told what buttons to press with that character. They don't want to learn what the fight does. They want to be told what characters to bring to the fight. And so endgame for any game, the entire point of endgame is system mastery. So like the game is a system and endgame is system mastery. So if you've played any Final Fantasy, like it's pretty easy to get through the main game without learning the intricacies of everything. But if you want to fight the super bosses, you really, really have to learn the game. So like FF10 or FF10 or FF13 are like my favorite examples, right? Like FF10, it's pretty easy to just mash buttons and get through the game. But if you want to fight like the Dark Aeons and Penance, you actually have to like max out the boards, craft the weapons that break the damage limit, learn which buffs are best, put them on your fucking party. Like you have to learn the game. FF13 as well.
Yeah.
Very easy to like autopilot through that main game, and then when you start doing the end game, you have to learn how to stagger best and how to buff and debuff, and that's everything. So it really is learning the game. And this isn't who I forgot who said it in our mod chat, but they said the reason why some people struggle on these harder fights like Vayne fights are like they're like these are Reigns Mal. I think Nidre said it right. Like there's the Reigns fight. These are some of the hardest fights in DeFo, but DeFo itself is honestly not that hard a game to learn.
Right.
There's not that many things to keep track of. Each character only has about 4 to 5 viable buttons. Let's be honest. Most characters aren't pressing the AA. They're not pressing the Brave Plus. They're not pressing the HP Plus.
Right.
Like some characters don't even press some of their skills. I know when I play Ace, I try to not press S1 as much as fucking possible.
No, right, yeah.
So like, you have a team of 3. Each of these characters have maybe 3 or 4 viable buttons. And then you're looking at your own buff slots, and then you're looking at the enemy buff slots. So you're doing some math when it comes to adding debuffs and adding buffs. Other than that, that's the entire game. It's balancing the math equation. I know I look into like main court all the time. There's people saying, so why is it that when I have Beatrix on this team, I'm doing more damage than when I have Porum on this team? And these people don't want to learn like what debuffs or buffs are doing. Like the Antlion one is hilarious, right, guys? Because the Antlion, the defense is front loaded on their buffs. If you dispel that buff, they are much squishier.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
But the point is, not everyone's looking at the buffs. When you tell people that, they're like, wait, the Antlion's buff their defense? Like they're not reading, they're not looking at everything. This is a turn-based game. The whole point of a turn-based game is that you can take your fucking time. You can take 30 minutes to look at the buffs and debuffs and read what they do and work out a plan. Like there's no rush. And I have a little clip I gave Mark. I don't know if he can play it.
Yeah,
I remember Macno said you should have played this during like the Vayne fight when people were like, the game expects me to count to 12, before the boss warps. Like why? That's a lot.
Okay, so I'm gonna play it. You probably won't be able to hear it, Mino. So I'll tell you when it's done. All right. I apologize. Let me know on the volume of this. I'll play it again if the volume's too low. I turned it down a little bit just so your ears didn't get blowing out. So here you go. How do we play Lufania Plus?
Well, scientists have discovered that even monkeys can memorize 10 numbers. Are you stupider than a monkey?
How big of a monkey?
Okay, did everybody hear that in chat?
And so like I remember like I know it's so funny because I think it's the lighthouse fight. That wasn't even the first one with turn warps, right? That was a 12 turn warp, but there was another fight before that I think had like a 10 turn warp or something.
Yeah.
And right, like we had legit DeFo veterans, like people who've been playing since day one, say like, why don't they have a turn counter for this? Yeah. How are we expected to keep track of 10 actions before the boss moves? Like, at what point is the game asking too much of its players? And it's like, God, come on, you're counting to 10. like even monkeys can count to 10. Are you stupider than a monkey? But I always laugh when I think people say, at what point does the game expect too much of the player? Because my response is always, why don't you expect more of yourself? I don't know, man. Like, you can rise up to the challenge. There's like, I don't know. You can't have that low of an opinion of yourself that you can't keep track of this. Like, there's no way you can do this. But right. Back to you.
Yeah. Well, let's transition to the next event, which is Intersecting, Wills. This is a new event type for us, and if you've noticed, we got the UI update. So on our world map, we have 5 icons on one page, and then 2 icons on the second page. Abyss and Dimensions End have been moved to the second page. And now we have Events, Lost Chapter, Intersecting Wills, World of Illusion, and Hunts. This is different than JP because JP only has one page because they do not have Abyss or Hunts as their own tab. So, and then we will have an 8th one, which will be the 6-man event as well. But Intersecting Wills is basically Lost Chapter 2.0. So as you've probably realized if you've been playing for a long time, we've gone down from 2 new characters a month to 1 new character a month, and that's going to actually be starting to spread out a little bit more, I think, at this point. Do we still get 1 new character a month? Yeah,
so we still get 1 a month.
Yeah, it's always 1 a month.
A little faster, yeah, but
because we got
1 a month.
We got Jegrin, Ursula next month. We have Lloyd. Lloyd. Layla is there somewhere too. So yeah, so basically 1 a month, but that means less lost chapters moving forward. So this is kind of the way to add in an additional lost chapter a month with this Intersecting Wills. Characters that already have maybe a lost chapter or characters that we already have in play get an Intersecting Will. This one has a little story. Yay. I know all of you love the story of Defoe. This was a cute story about Garnet and Zidane, and Gao was in there for some reason. Just a fun little thing. But pretty much exactly like a lost chapter. And, of course, no co-op, but Lufania Plus, Challenge Quest as well for that. We did get a new character. Of course, every Intersecting Will, we will get a new character. And that character is Princess Garnet, or Dagger, or Princess Sarah. It's Princess Sarah. Yeah, new character, Princess Sarah. No, Garnet got her LD. Garnet did not get a rework like Garland and the twins did. But she didn't really need it to do what she's doing. Her new LD, Eternal Darkness, because Garnet is a summoner, and so she summons Leviathan, she summons Rama, she summons Alexander, my favorite animation in this game, and now she summons everybody's favorite summon, Ark. Yay! Hey, thank you, Soraya the Ranger, for that resub. 11 months. Congratulations. Glad you've been joining us that entire time. Eternal Darkness is a big battery, big heal, big AoE HP attack, and then gives her a fancy overhead buff, which gives her some damage up, brave gain up. Also gives the party elemental weakness damage up, brave gain and HP damage up, and some overflow, so that's nice. But he gives her a little counter, and every time that counter hits 4, and it goes every time somebody takes an action, it does a follow-up attack. The follow-up attack's a battery, AoE HP attack, and then another battery, which is kind of cool. So I'm not going to lie, skill 1 and skill 2 don't feel great. And my Garnet, because Garnet is one of my favorite characters, my Garnet is blue, and in synergy. My in synergy blue Garnet, skill 1, skill 2, versus 3 characters, 3 enemies, feeling really good. The EX still slow as molasses to charge. Thankfully, she does start with the EX buff. I don't know that she always did. I don't know what era it was that she then started with the EX buff. But that EX buff, Sacred Prayer, is the one that gives the party enchant, right? And Brave Regen. So thankfully she starts with that, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, that EX is so slow charging. That being said, her follow-up's really cool. And so if you need that enchant and peril, she does 2 elements, which is nice. She's doing some nice party support, but I don't know that you would want her to be your only party support. You'd want somebody else with some support or as well, because her attack up's not great. Max Brave up's really good. Other than that, yeah, you could use some more Max Brave up HP damage up on your party as well. But she can definitely probably be your solo healer, solo battery character, depending on what you're running. She's not. I'm not gonna lie. She's not great. They really could have done something. I don't know why they didn't give her a rework, give her some more hits, give her some more damage, double hits or something. She definitely, she's great. She's fine as a support. She's not a bad choice. But we also have BT plus supports, which Bart's and Chance and Perils. We all know that. Yeah. So when are you going to choose her over Bart's? if she's a favorite of yours because of that, and because she does 2 elements and because she heals, maybe you need some other heals. Yeah, GRW18 is like, yeah, because it's dagger and we love her. That's pretty much the reason that you're going to choose her because you like her. But yes, I'm not going to pretend, just like Kistis, I'm not going to pretend that she's the best character ever, even though I have her fully built and I spent a lot of resources to get her LD, which makes me sad. But again, at this point, any character you pick up that you like, you're going to be able to use. So who cares? Pick the characters you up. But if you're like on the fence with Garnet, yeah, pass Garnet. You're going to be fine. Mino, what do you think?
It's just not my style of character. Not at all. The objective stuff first is, as you mentioned, the imperils being generic.
Yes,
is very weird for this era.
Yep.
Many enchanter imperils have that on a framed now, so it's very, very fucking weird that it's like Vincent, right? You have 2, but they're generic. So in certain team comps, it's not rare to see them push each other off because she throws on 2, right? So it's really like to have both up and uninterrupted is very rare throughout a fight. That's a very weird decision. Her damage output does not justify her support, if that makes any sense, right? Like people brought up earlier, I was talking about the balance between DPS and support, and it's that like apparently people loved learning this on yesterday's ranting hour and our informal stream, so I'll repeat it again here. So in MMO parsers, in WoW and FF14, when you parse damage and they give you a detailed breakdown, the increased damage that a support brings is added to the support's contribution in damage. So for example, in FF14, let's say your Mark plays a scholar. Scholars have that move that I forget what it does, but it increases crit rate against the target.
Oh yeah.
It increases crit rate against the target. And so what parsers do is all the extra crit damage done from that. So like if a Dragoon takes advantage of Mark's buff and hits 200 damage, but the crit equals 300 damage, 100 of that gets given to Mark for his damage output. Right? So when you're calculating a support contribution, it's, how much are they adding to everyone else's damage and how much damage are they doing themselves? So Garnet's personal output does not justify her auras, right? Like she has okay auras, not the best auras, and she'll increase your team's damage, but her personal damage is bringing everyone else's damage down.
Yeah.
So like I don't think she's not a go-to support for mine. Even as a healer, she's not like super consistent.
No.
I think she heals on her LD now.
Yeah,
on
she
top of her
heals.
EX.
She heals
So
on
that's something.
LD and she heals on EX. It would have been nicer if she healed on the follow-up attack. Very truthfully.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. So I ran Garnet, Beatrix, and Zidane. My primary healer was Zidane. So that should tell you a little bit of something. Furry Tractor brings up a nice point. Ferris's LD call actually imperils, framed imperils lightning and water. So,
Oh shit!
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
that's a nice
a good
combo.
point. Hey, that's a
I
good
don't have
point.
Ferris LD. It's one of the few I'm missing. Kind of sucks. But that is a nice point. And, she is a little fast, but it's on the enemies, so that's nice.
Yeah, like her follow-up's just okay. Like everything's just okay.
Yeah.
She's like jack of all trades, does everything a little okay. Her auras are pretty okay. Her heals are pretty okay. Enchant and Peril is kind of okay. But I don't know. I don't know when I would want to bring Garnet over anyone else. I guess if you have holes in your roster you need to fill, but not a character that's really appealing to me. Mark, nothing really standing out.
Yeah, somebody who was just saying that. Oh, Katsufume is saying, I don't use her skills much. I usually use her brave skills. Man, with how I understand her brave and her brave and HP attacks with her stances are not bad at all. But man, I mean, she's not going to run out of skills, and her EX is so slow charging. I just know I hate pressing the Brave and HP buttons, knowing how slowly her EX charges. But they're not terrible. They're not terrible buttons to press. Let me put it that way. So if you're going to use her and you want to extend her use, her Brave and HP attacks are not going to be the worst thing. Well, looking at the podcast polls, there we go. Again, thank TonberryTroupe.com. Check out the infographic. Beautiful infographic with art from who is this? Yoshimura. I can't read that.
Yeah, I think he's like a regular artist for Tonberry Troupe now.
Yeah, really great looking art. I really like that a lot.
Yoshimura, very props. I pinged them on Discord. I never got a response. But basically, I feel like their art's improving over time.
Yeah.
I super appreciate it. I love their Garland one.
Yeah, the Garland art is great. Yeah, the Garland art's really good. Shout out to TonberryTroupe.com. Check out that infographic. You can see what the Brave and HP attacks do and choose for yourself. Again, Materia Bot and Quetzalma for the podcast polls. Not looking great for Garnet here. One person planning to pity the BT on this one. 17 pitying the LD. 5 gems, 97 tickets, 47 skips. I guess that's not terrible for her. So a lot of people still pulling. Garnet is a favorite for a lot. I don't know when people are going to stop pulling. People, stop pulling. For the love of God, stop pulling. You don't need to pull on any of this stuff. She does, however, make this event much, much easier. We haven't really had that for a while where the synergy character actually does make the event considerably easier, especially in the Vane cycle. That was not the case. It's not saying Vane was bad in his cycle. He wasn't at all. Shulk wasn't bad in her event. Not at all. She was great. But Garnet, ticks the boxes for this, obviously. So we don't always get that. I am happy as somebody who has a lot of resources and pulls for that. So, yeah, let's talk about the fight. We fight 3 antlions. They're the pincer guys. And, they're immune to launch. Haha. They each got 15 million HP. That's a lot. The orb starts at the beginning of the battle and then disappears when they hit 79%, reappears at 39%. So there is a way to kind of burn through the orb so you don't have to worry about it. It increases by 1 when they take thunder damage. It increases by 1 when they take water damage. If you bring Garnet, you don't worry about the orb because it's always ticking up too. Every single time you attack and every time the party attacks, unless you're bringing other elemental characters with that. You can also use Kryl and Ash in the party or as a call. That is an option. Rydia as a call is an option too, I guess. A little bit harder one as well. Looking at the thresholds, just so you kind of understand how the fight's pretty simple fight. They start with each of them on turn 0. As soon as you start the fight, each of them does an AoE HP attack. So bring your Diabolos or your Odin, get that, or, Leviathan or Alexander, get that right off the bat, summon passive shooting up. Because they're going to do damage to you. They should not be able to kill you, but they do a max HP down debuff to the party. And there is a HP requirement for this fight of 55,000. And they are going to constantly do things to lower your HP. Not necessarily kill them unless you give them a lot of turns. But that will trigger again at 69%. So they'll all do that HP attack. And 39%, they'll all use that HP attack, that Sandstorm attack. And then at 19%, they will get into a counter stance at 79% and 49%, and that will counter any Brave melee attack that is not... they will counter any Brave melee attack unless you do elemental damage to them. That will dispel the stance. There you go. Then they actually get at 29%, if this wasn't bad enough, an HP poison aura. So really make sure that you got to bring some kind of healing or you're not going to get the HP requirement. You can survive without healing, but you're not going to get the HP requirement. There is a kind of a cheat around this, and that is you can remove all your HP passives and you can actually remove all your HP passives and lower the total party HP so that you don't lose 55,000 HP. That is a props to Macnell or whoever found that out, because you can go in and use all the Leviathan passive. Is it which Odin passive, Bahamut passive? Remove that, remove all the static passives, and there you go. Bring all non-synergy. Yep, non-synergy characters don't have higher HP, so yeah, it's a little bit of a fun thing to manage. But again, there's a lot of different ways around it. There was a bug later on in the Japanese version of the game which allowed Yuffie to cheese this fight. So there are some videos online that shows Yuffie one-turning this fight. So there was a lot of talk on Reddit, on Facebook. I saw people reply to comments on other YouTube videos saying, oh man, Yuffie's going to cheese this fight. Wow, I hope they all woke up to that terrible realization that that's not the case. Yuffie can't cheese that, and Macnell did a PSA for that as well. That was never going to be the case. It may be the case down the line a little bit, probably not. If that's how you thought you were going to beat it, good luck. But there are plenty different ways to do this fight. Obviously, pulling Garnet really does help, but there's a lot of different options besides that. I brought a full Final Fantasy 9 team, and so that's fine. If I have some time, I may do a TCC challenge run with Cryo as well. I don't have Ash, so can't do that. But what do you think, Mino, about this fight?
So first, the cheese thing is that came with Lena's LD. When that was introduced, because Lena has her LD interacts with max HP, a lot of things that interacted with max HP were kind of broken for a while. So people didn't realize that. It's also something to watch out when it comes to GL, because basically that patch, Lena's HP plus was not working properly. Everyone else that scaled off max HP, like Porum's follow-ups, were not working properly. And that's why Yuffie was able to toss back what was supposed to be a 50% reduction in max HP, but ended up being a 100% reduction. So whenever Lena dropped in JP, max HP skills were fucked up for a little bit until they fixed it. So that's an interaction to keep your eye out for when it comes to GL, but also mostly, something I like to always push in the community is check your sources. When you research, when you hear stuff, check your sources. Like I think this largely came around because people were looking up videos, right? And very, very specific cheese videos that came out at a very specific time. And they're like, oh shit, I'm just going to do this without the context, without understanding anything. And then I think we get into these, like, if you're in main chord GL spoilers, you get into these fights all the time of context. Like Mark's fucking tier list was posted there with zero context, and people began speculating wildly and spreading terrible misinformation. Like I don't know why this is a thing, because going to school, one of the very first things we learn in middle school is always like cite your sources. And also our mods keep me pretty honest, like BC and Macnell. I think when I say something, even Mark's called me out on this before too. I think, like, I'll say, oh, a lot of people said this, and Mark says, what's a lot of people? How many people? Or like, oh, I heard this. Where did you hear it from? Like, I not just a defo thing, a life thing. Please always check your sources. Don't take things at face value. Bullshit. Do your own research. But with
that being said, I saw at least 12 people say that they were going to Yuffie cheese this. It's too many.
I've seen a lot more. Yeah, I saw people going on stream all the time saying, like, why isn't this working? They're like, Squex fucked global again. Like, we're fucked again. They cheat us again, so we couldn't get an easy win. But sorry, Mark, what was the original question again? I lost track.
What'd you think of this fight?
Oh yeah, great mechanics again. Lot of ways to deal with this, right? You could, if you took a dispeller. So I think the big gimmick of this fight was HP damage over time and huge brave defenses.
Yep.
Huge brave defenses. So I love these fights because there's so many ways you can tackle this. You can bring a dispeller, Retro Gamer Dad was saying, like, how did you guys survive this fight without Porum? Like, I was getting one shot without that HP damage reduction. I feel like a lot of people forgot how to play the game for a while, but like debuffs,
Yep.
right? Like they're like, hey, well, their Int Brave is higher than my HP. Why are they one-shotting me? Oh, just debuff their Int Brave.
Yep.
You know, we have tons of characters that reduce Int Brave by like 60 to 80%. That solves the problem right there. Lots of ways to tank the damage. Some people use Galeth, some people use Leon.
Yeah.
All right, Gladio.
Mhm.
Just spike up your Brave damage up. People brought Setzer. They just ignored all of that. There's so many ways to tackle
delete,
this.
delay.
Yeah, delete, delay.
Yeah.
Delete, delay. Yeah. Or just blow through it with twins.
Yeah.
And so I'm saying, like, these types of fights are great because there's so many answers. That's to me great game design. I know there's some fights that are so restrictive that you need Yuna to cleanse, etc., or you need Confuse to do the easy way. Like, this is a fight that has the mechanics are actually tough, guys, if you interact with this without twins. But there's so many options to approach this fight and counter the mechanics. You can choose so many different paths.
Yeah, I don't know that I've seen some iBrave shenanigans. Who's our iBrave shenanigan?
Someone did Vincent.
Oh, okay. There is a Jin Lee. Did you do? Yeah, Jin Lee did not do Vincent because I watched Jin Lee's run.
Yeah, Jin Lee. Shout out to Jin Lee. Just to echo sentiments of the community, Jin Lee. These are somebody else's words, not mine, Jin. I know you're in chat. Saying no BT run and then bringing Setzer is a meaningless metric. As meaningless as bringing your triple BT plus teams and swapping out your Saga characters. So something to think about, Jin Lee. Just saying.
Hey, you get the views however you get them, Jin. No shame here. No shame from me. You get your views however you need to get your views, right? Yeah, but I like both these fights. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to Boss Rush number 6. I'm looking forward to Orin, too, because speaking of debuffs, that's going to be a lot of fun. Well, again, thanks to Macnol, DissidiaFFOO.com. You can check out Jin Lee's run of this fight. Dystopia Clay's here. You can check out their run. You can check out Scott Ong. You can check out Destraw's got a whole bunch of runs. You can check out all of our friends on the YouTube. Go to DissidiaFFOO.com or just jump into our Discord and you have a whole thing filled out there. If you want to do the TCC challenge, no BT plus, no synergy. No BT at all. If you want to do the extreme version, you just want to have fun, you can bring synergy, but no BT plus. Like I did right here. Oh no, I didn't. I used BT plus. Why that wouldn't I? I went for, that was my theme team there. So, looking at the podcast questions. So again, if you have any questions and you are live with us, feel free to use the Q&A. Feel free to give us a sub and then write your question. Feel free to super chat, and we'll happily answer your question live on air. But you can always go throughout the week and go to our Discord and go to podcast questions. So Final Asim, our good friend Final Asim says, "Hello, podcast people. I've been meaning to ask for a long time. There's been a lot of Final Fantasy 14 hate in this Discord from many people like Mark and Mino. That we are the people on the show, so good."
I don't think it's many people, by the way.
Yeah,
I think it's
just us.
Small handful.
Mostly us.
Nidre and BC, but yeah.
Yet those people who hate Final Fantasy 14 so much and say it is terrible still play it and plan to play Endwalker. Why is that? That's my question. Thank you very much. Thank you, Final Asim, for asking your question. Mino?
Do you want to go first?
Yeah. We literally, my friends and I, Mino joins us sometimes. We sit Monday night. It's kind of my hangout time with some of my best friends and in real life friends. And we literally hang out and we are playing through Final Fantasy 14. We are mocking it the entire time, wondering what the hell. And I am just over the moon because Mino shared with me some videos of the Japanese version of the game with actual translations from Japan. And the Japanese voice acting and lines are so much better than our English high fantasy bullshit. Like, like all these, and hey, Final Asim, thank you for the subscription. Oh shit, I just turned in exactly when you read my question. How amazing is that? This high, like I love. I mean, you should know if you've been listening to the show. Both Mino and I love high fantasy. We love Tolkien, man. I love high fantasy. But I mean, the bullshit, like 45 minutes of exposition to say we should go here and do this. Like the Japanese, if you haven't watched or listened to the Japanese voice acting is like full on anime. The lines are full on anime. It's just off the wall, crazy ball stuff. It's not, Uber Danger doesn't even sound like, he's some weird relic from, like he just talks in like one sentence, like he's doing haikus basically. That's your Urianger is just doing haikus. He's not going on for 5 minutes and talking about stuff you don't even know anymore. It's so great. So yeah, you can swap. I think you can in game. I think there's a way to.
You can.
You can change. You can change it to JP dialogue and text, and it is far superior. That being said, I will continue to do the English version because it's a lot more fun to make fun of. So yeah, I mean, we are super casual, and it is. I'm enjoying it a lot. I think it's a fun game. I don't know that I would recommend it to anybody, but I think it's a fun game, and we're just. Why can't you play something and make fun of it at the same time? I think that's my answer. I make fun of everything that I like. You want to talk about Star Wars, all the weird crap in Star Wars that's ridiculous. All the weird crap in comic books are weird. You want to talk about, like, I love comic books. You want to talk about all the weird Final Fantasy. You want to talk about me shitting on Final Fantasy. I love certain Final Fantasy games. I said something on one of my YouTube videos about Final Fantasy IV not being great. Listen, I love Final Fantasy IV. It's one of my favorite Final Fantasy games. Objectively, it's not the best one. Like it's just not. And that's okay. I can like it and it can be one of my favorites, and I can realize there are probably better games than Final Fantasy IV, but so it goes. Mino, what do you think?
So to answer Final Asim's question is because you know me. I'm a scholar. I'm a researcher. I do not like to hate on things that I have no knowledge of. I don't like ignorant hate. So, for example, I think I've told Mark the story before, but in high school or whatever, it's like I was dating a girl who was very into Hunger Games or Twilight. Yeah, Twilight and Hunger Games, and I read all of that before I started hating on it. I had to hate with knowledge, right? Like ignorant hate, that's terrible. Never shun things you have no knowledge of. Experience it in full and then hate with such intensity and accuracy that it cannot be denied. Like that's how I feel like I approach my character evaluations in this game, right? Like you can disagree as much as you want, but how much of it is true? How much of it can you not say that it is a valid point? So I play FF14 to shit on FF14 with, perfect accuracy and so irrefutable criticism. That being said, I understand that not everyone plays games the same way I do. I play games to play games. I skip cutscenes in almost every game unless they truly grab and intrigue me. I know a lot of people play FF14 as sort of like a Disneyland experience, right? Like when I was a kid, I didn't like Disneyland. I liked Six Flags because I loved the intense roller coasters and the big experiences. I was like, this is why you go to theme parks. I don't want to sit in like this babby ride of like Pirates of the Caribbean, right? This very slow thematic ride. As I got older, and you start taking, you start going on dates, and this is something I stand by the way. I tell people this all the time. Disneyland is purely like, you don't see a group of guys going to Disneyland. I think the only guys going to Disneyland are on dates or taking their spouses or girlfriends or whatever. Mark has a face.
Yeah,
I want to hear Mark.
I know. Yeah, no, I mean, no, I don't have any comments. I did go to Disneyland with a group of guys. Like it was for like in high school. We were with band. I mean, there was girls there too. I mean, the entire band was there. So
it's mixed then. It's mixed. I'm saying there's no
as an adult
bunch of guys with a annual pass going together. I think I challenge some people to spot this out next time they go, and I think a lot of them came back and said, okay, yeah, I don't see just a bunch of guys going. Like,
not a lot of group of guys.
Family thing.
More so at Six Flags. Yeah, you'd see a bunch of guys.
Yeah. At Six Flags, you see the like thrill seekers or like Knott's Berry, like Scary Farm, all that stuff. Like you see the thrill seekers and but Disneyland's very thematic, and I get it. I appreciate it much more when I was older. Sometimes you don't want all the thrill rides. Sometimes you want a relaxing ride and just be surrounded by the atmosphere. You appreciate that more. That's what I think a lot of people like in FF14, a very, very casual stroll through Final Fantasy nostalgia. That is not enough for me usually to pay like $15 a month and a shit ton of my time to experience. And so like I get the appeal. Not super for me though. Next question.
Final ASIM. Mino is forced to watch the cutscenes when he watches me stream. So he's seen more.
It's not better.
It's not better.
Finally,
it's not better.
Yeah, I started playing with Mark's group and they watch the cutscenes.
Yeah.
So I've been watching alongside with him, and it's only lowered my opinion.
It's awful
Of FF14. Please don't tell me like I told you I give all cutscenes a chance. If the story's not great, I'm not gonna get into it, and like it's FF14 is a very, very anime story. I think there's a lot of go ahead.
Sweet Water Dream asks on YouTube. Sweet Water Dream asks, Mino dated someone? ? So that was part of the story that you did in fact date someone, a girl, in high school. So, there you go, a little bit of insight into Mino's personal life. Who is this RVK? Who is this? Oh no, Indolent Lard. Medatillion died for our sins. Indolent Lard. Check out Indolent Lard on YouTube. Ever since the announcement of Force weapons, a lot of folks had come out and mentioned a ton of potential pairings they would love to see. If you're not familiar, Force weapons in the actual attack that they give are like a team up ability. So you see two characters do something. Super excited. With that in mind, what would be the force weapon pairing that the hosts would want to see? I didn't even think before I asked that. Okay, Mino, go ahead. What pairing would you?
I need to think. This is not something.
I just remembered one of your answers in our private channel. I wasn't sure if you were going to say that.
What did I say? I say it. What was it? I forget.
I believe that you said you wanted to see Barrett and Zaz in the drive-by in the car do a drive-by attack.
I mean, that one makes sense, right? Like Saz has a hot rod. They both have guns. They could both get into Saz's car, drive by, roll down the windows real slow. Just like empty their like what Saz has full auto, because we know force weapons recycle animations. So Saz can do his EX full auto. Two guns, you just start blasting out the window. Barrett following up, and then they can just drive off into the sunset. But that's an old answer. I feel like I need a fresh answer. So why don't you go while I think of something?
I super don't care. Yeah, I mean, it's right now. It's what's Kryle's team up? Do you know?
Realm.
Okay, so it's Kryle and Realm. It's Kane and Aranea. I think Kane and Aranea. I think that's just perfect for me. Two of my favorite characters. Tifa and Lise. Get the pugilists in there. Kurasame and Kistis. Get the teachers. Get the teacher team up going in there. I'd like that. But somebody was talking about, Renoa's my favorite character in Final Fantasy, and dog combos. So like Shadow and Renoa, or somebody else. Who else has a dog in this game? Angelo and Interceptor. There was somebody else. Braska. Braska and Medatillion. I guess they're both summoners, I guess.
Yeah, so they're both summoners.
A summoner. Yeah.
They both obtained the ultimate summon in their game.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I think they both made a big sacrifice.
Yes,
both
true.
Sacrificed their lives.
It's not bad.
There's a lot of,
it's not
there's
bad.
a lot of pairings.
It's not bad.
The pairings make sense. They do.
Who would be with Fran? What is well, I mean, in 12 you kind of have different classes. Everybody can kind of be
Mostly an archer.
Yeah,
in
who's
canon, I think.
who's a magic dealing, an archer. Lena, I guess. Lena, you got Lena,
Sim said Fran
Maria.
and Kimari. That makes sense. They're both the silent animal people.
Yeah. Yeah, they're both furries, so that's
I
exciting.
hate this question.
I'm
just gonna stick with my
I do hate this.
Barrett Saw's
I do hate
answer.
this question.
I don't want to think about this more.
Crush asks, what character from a spin-off game would you like to see in DeFo? None, ever. What's
a spin-off game?
What's a spin-off
like an
game?
FF spin-off game?
Yeah,
like
because
what counts as a spin-off
World
game?
of Final Fantasy, in my opinion.
Yeah, World of Final Fantasy is a spin-off game, right? Yeah, like what counts as a
so I think my answer for this is not a spin-off game, but the anime. I want to see Kaze and also the White Wind in I want the Final Fantasy Unlimited characters to appear in this game. That's the only other. Yeah, Final Fantasy Tactics spin-off. It's not.
Fuck is a spin-off.
It's not
game?
1 through 10. 1 through 10 right here.
Like are 10-2 and 13-2 spin-off games?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I would consider those spin-off
Those
games.
count.
Yeah. Yeah. Spirits Within. Yep, I would take Aki Ross from Spirits Within. Who would? No, Final ASIM. That's a great question. That's what I want. I want Yuna's force weapon to call in Riku and Pain, and Riku still not be in the game. That's ultimately, even though that's not that's not the team ups we've had. I want Riku, Yuna, and Pain to come in on one of those as a joint attack, and Riku still not be in the game. I think that would be great. So,
Lico1 says Zidane and Thancred. Yeah, that's a pretty good pairing.
yeah,
They're both
they both
womanizer.
Yeah, they both
thieves.
sing
And by
sing
that
the
was
songs of
Thancred,
love.
10 years ago. Now he's somebody completely different.
Well, he's somebody
Not
completely different every couple of years.
Yeah, so I mean, like one version of Thancred was just like Zidane. Yeah, that's correct.
Thancred is like the man with no face from a Song of Ice and Fire. So that's what I assume they're going for. Like you never really know who he is because he's always taking on someone else's personality. So yeah, Thancred.
Is an FF spinoff? Help me out here, Mark.
Somebody said Mystic Quest. Is that a Final Fantasy?
I guess.
Yeah, maybe.
Does Kingdom Hearts count?
No, Kingdom Hearts is
No?
its own thing.
Does Super Smash Brothers count?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
then I would like Ike.
Yeah.
Ike from Super
Ike.
Smash Brothers in
Solid Snake is in Super.
Solid
Yeah,
Snake. You're
I think
right.
Solid Snake.
That's way better.
Yeah, Solid
That's
Snake.
way better.
That would be really good. I'd take that. Mario. I'd like Mario. I think Mario fit well, and his sprite would be great. Definitely there. So Silocons asks, which is the worst form of copium, Brave Damage Up or Brave Gains Up? I kind of think we talked about this with, like I got my three characters, my 3 BT plus characters. So what's more? I mean, it depends on what you're playing for. If you got a Brave Gain Up is doing it. If you got a lot of Brave hits, Brave Damage Up is kind of doing it. Makes pretty much anybody else do what they need to do better. What are your thoughts there?
Soraya is saying, I don't understand the question. I think it's what's the easier path or what's the biggest crutch?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would go with Brave Gains. Brave
Yeah.
Gains easy because not only are there more people who can do Brave Gains, but also Brave Gains are permanent. Your best solution to Brave Damage Up is Setzer.
Yep.
That's not 100% and it's very temporary. It doesn't last the whole fight. So Brave Damage is not perfect. Brave Damage also has to factor in Brave Damage down and defense up. So there's more factors preventing Brave Damage. Brave Gain is the easy babby way to play the game.
Silocons is clarifying what's more addicting to players. I think, I mean,
the same either way.
I think they're all. I think, you got really at this point, right? You have Bartz / Setzer for Brave Damage Up, or you have Porum / Y'shtola for Brave Gain Up, and a lot of people are running one of those things. Most of your runs, I would say the vast majority of your runs, in Lufania Plus have had one of those 4 characters in them for that very reason. And if every single run that you've run has had one of those 4 characters in it, try playing it without and realize, hey, it might not be as easy as you think it is. I think BT Plus is the most addictive thing. That's for sure.
For sure. I think Macno made a meme of that, right? Like,
yeah. Macnell did, and I was on the ranting hour last night. I don't have it to pull it up right now. Supernova says, why doesn't Square want our money? Any other gacha game would have jumped on the opportunity to sell material packs with the introduction of a new weapon tier, like BT Plus ingots. Since this is purely PvE, giving players the option to pay to win does nothing to harm the experience. We want to buy BT Plus bundles, Square. Square Joshua, if you're listening, Squex Joshua, BT Plus bundles when? Hopefully Black Friday, right? Come on, Black Friday. I expect a BT Plus bundle or 2.
American Friday.
What? Oh, yes, African American Friday. It's not. That's a whole different thing. In the Black Friday. That's the idea. The stores go in the black. Black Friday.
In the black.
Yeah, that's what it's.
Is that what it is?
That's what it's named after. That is the time
shit.
of year when the retail industry goes in the black.
Oh my God! Is that why it's called
Black Friday?
I thought it was something completely different.
It's not
that I don't want to say on air.
It's not Indigenous People Friday. No, it's all about money. It's a retail holiday.
That's mind blowing.
For those of you overseas who are like, what the hell are you talking about? The Friday after Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is a holiday where we gorge ourselves on food, remembering how not my ancestors, but a lot of folks' ancestors came in and pillaged and raped their way to freedom, I guess. And then the next day, when we're drunk on turkey, we go out and buy things we don't need. And so all the stores then get their money and are be fine. So it's so good. Everybody's up at midnight. It's Black Friday. We are all a little racist. It's okay. It's a little bit more okay for Mino to be racist than for me because he is a person of color. So
I have a black friend.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, you have a black friend and you are a person of color yourself. So you get a pass.
You know what? Let's err on this. Let's err on the side of caution. No more jokes from me.
That's
the next
probably good thing. So we didn't really answer the question, but I think you all know that we want Squex to make things more money. Yoshi Pasta says so.
Oh shit. Oh, sorry. Right. The question was. I was saying. I say this all the time. I think the only justification I can guess at is that they're trying to build long-term habits. That's the only reason why I think they like really, really, really delay this stuff.
Yeah.
Like everything comes a little later. I think they really want to build habits. And it's funny because I was hanging out in Heavy Kira's stream today, right? And Heavy Kira is another DissidiaFFOO streamer, and he talks about how much he was talking about the same thing on his stream. He's like, I don't understand why DissidiaFFOO doesn't want my money. He's like, as a consumer, I guess I'm glad. He's like, have you ever noticed how quickly Squex games depreciate? They're like, FF15 came out at $60, and then like 4 months later it was like 30, and then like now you can get like the Royal Edition for under 20 or something like that.
Yeah.
And they're like, look at any Squex game, they're like dirt fucking cheap. Like World of Final Fantasy, I just googled it on. It's like $15 right now on Steam, and so. He's like, that's good, but then he also talked about how much he hates FF14, but he's been subbed for years, right? Because he plays with his wife, and we talked about that. I was like, it's funny because like they're getting so much more of your money than if you bought single games, right? I was like, Heavy Kira, you're paying $30 a month for a game you don't play that much. No, he plays a lot with his wife, but he doesn't enjoy it. The point is like he's paying $30 a month just to stay subbed. He's like, oh, the only reason I'm still subbed is because I need to make sure they don't take away my house, because in FF14 if you buy a house and you don't log in 2 months they take it away from
Oh wow. Although they are changing some of that, I think. I saw
like a lot of like dumb things, and it's just like, damn, dude, they make a lot of their money off keeping you on the long term for sure.
Yeah.
And like I feel like the only justification for defo is they want you to wait. And how many people are paying for a Mog Pass they don't need? Let's
Yep.
be honest,
Yeah, I think
right? Like,
that's the majority of the money is the Mog passes, and they're going to be more useful moving forward. So, yeah. Yoshipasa asks, what is considered a cheese strat to the community since the previous one was still hated by the community? Well, I mean, we talk about Yuffie cheese, and if you had watched the Yuffie cheese in the Japanese version of the game, it was literally Yuffie comes in and presses her throwback and instantly kills them. So she throws back the debuff and they all die in one turn. So I mean that's kind of a cheese the mechanics. Joshua referred to shutdown, right? Kind of as cheese, or let me be careful about how I say this. He used cheese he used the word cheese in referencing kind of the shutdown mechanics in the mission dungeon. Was that in the Kate Sith dungeon? Am I remembering correctly?
yes.
And so the idea of stunning them so that they would not hit the mechanic, like that was a cheese, at least kind of from the Office, I guess, kind of a sense that that's a cheese. You're cheesing the mechanics. I don't know in DeFi. I don't know what Yoshi Pasta is referring to. I don't know if Yoshi's with us tonight. In terms of particularly what strat, like what's hated by the community. I don't care if you cheese something like Doulahan. You cheese whatever you want. If you win, you win. I don't care how you win. I mean, is 3BT plus cheesing? Because it's, is synergy cheese? I mean, maybe. I mean, that, I guess you could consider that. I don't know. What's the best cheese is Brie. That's nice. So, what do you think, Mino?
The way I've always seen it before in the past, cheesing is an exploit that the developers did not intend.
Yeah.
That's very hard to call here because we're guessing, right?
We don't know.
We're guessing that Yuffie Doulahan's strategy was unintended and they just overlooked. They forgot to give it immunity. Actually, I'm pretty confident because then they made the fight without it and say try it again. That's almost like the developers saying, "Look, that was an accident. Now try the fight legit." So the confused thing also feels like cheese because it feels like wonky coding, right? Because paralyze doesn't stop it, and certain confuses don't stop it.
Right.
Like Waka's confused doesn't stop it, and I
it.
think somebody else said somebody else is confused, but like very specific confuses stopped it. So it feels very unintended. So the way I see it is cheese is always defined as an unintended exploit. Because people are like, oh, well, what if I bring 3 power creep DPS and blow through the fight? Well, you had to pull for them. So
right.
Squex is probably pretty happy about that.
Well, that's always been my argument with Yuffie. That's what Yuffie does. Like that's just what she does. When Yuffie works real well. She doesn't always work real well. She rarely works really well, actually. But when she works real well, and so I've never considered using Yuffie as a cheese, very truthfully. But yeah, it is hard to tell.
Yeah. GRW18 says, but then wasn't Yuffie Doulahan cheese showcased on the Ope Ope? I wouldn't say that means it's unintentional.
Right.
I mean, first of all, you can poke fun at your own thing or be like, oh, look, we forgot this. Here's a way you can do it. Developers give players freebies all the time, first of all. And second of all, if this was my job and that slipped through, I would have been like, yeah, that was on purpose all along, right? Like, in my job, there's plenty of times we pretend something was intentional when it wasn't. I'm pretty sure that goes for everybody. Mark, have you done that before?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's a very common thing to do, to pretend that I meant to do that all along.
Yeah.
Just a prank, bro. Like,
that's cool.
Come on, guys.
It's cool.
Yeah. Like Mark predicting Vincent LD, right? Like, it's a total guess, but he could just totally say, "Oh yeah, I knew all along."
That was a total guess that banked some big money. That was was a good guess on my part because, man, that video got a lot of views. Thank you.
Yeah. So
Shout out to
that's why I find this cheat.
Shout out to Quetzalma for that because I think it was in our conversation that Quetz was like, "Oh yeah, listen to this audio." So yeah.
Does that properly answer the question?
I think it does.
Yeah.
So Pons,
Okay.
last question of the night, Pons. Unless somebody does a super chat, or again, remember if you're on YouTube, you can become a member for $1 now. That is enacted, and of course, if you're on Twitch, you can give us a sub or use the thing. So if anybody has any questions, we do have time for maybe one more. But Pons asks, now that all the LDs have been released in JP, what if something else replaces Global First LDs? It seemed like a good strategy employed for a time to milk some extra resources from global players and mess with Foresight. Would a global early Crystal level 90 on a character, say like Kane, or someone else entice the hosts or players to spend? So what do you think we're going to get with firsts moving forward, Mino? Or
time traveling.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Time traveling LDs is the obvious answer, right?
Yeah.
I think I said this on a past podcast, but the seasonal banner thing is so brilliant because they can move any seasonal banner around and not fuck with their schedule at all or the BT schedule. They could bring in fucking like what are some future seasonal banners? Like let's say I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Vanille is the one that we already know that is been moved. So Vanille is.
But they could probably pull like one from the future, like.
Trying
to think of one.
Was the Balthier banner a seasonal banner?
Like Balthier, right? Yeah. Like
Yep.
If we didn't have a Balthier GL first already,
Yep.
let's just say, hey guys, happy Black Friday. Here's Balthier LD early.
Yep.
Like it wouldn't break the game much. It's garbage time. None of this shit matters. Time traveling LDs they did it during EX Plus to shorten the EX Plus era. They did during the 35 CP to shorten 35 CP. There's no reason why they wouldn't just bring some LDs
I think
up early.
Ico was on a seasonal banner.
Oh yeah,
That would be hilarious.
Aiko and Lena.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah, so like it's very easy to time travel some LDs.
Yeah.
Also, Jusane says that's not a thing in game development. The doing something unintentional and then pretending it was on purpose. I call super bullshit. That happens all the time in the gaming industry. Did you know that combos in fighting games came from a glitch in Street Fighter 2? They did not intend certain moves to link into other moves.
Other moves.
That was a glitch. They were gonna patch it out, but players liked it so much they made it a real thing.
Made it a thing. Yeah.
Final Fantasy has a very famous story. You can fucking Google this. Very famous story. In Final Fantasy 2, the Ultima spell had a number missing. So instead of being the ultimate spell, it was actually the shittiest spell. And I think Sakaguchi, the director, went to the programmer responsible and said, hey, you better fix this. And the programmer's like, well, you know how like in ancient times something was a big deal and then nowadays it's not a big deal, like inventing the wheel. He's like, Ultima is kind of like that. We could just tell people that Ultima was a big deal 1,000 years ago, but in modern times it's a piece of shit. And he refused to fix it, or he was too lazy to. I don't know. It was a very funny story. But the point is, in FF2, Ultima's complete garbage on accident. So no, in game development they do that shit all the fucking time. That's fucking bullshit. But yeah, no, that's my thing on time travel. What do you have, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, I foresee some time traveling LDs still. I don't think we're gonna get now. We might get some time traveling BT pluses or BTs that are kind of off season that aren't on the 2-week cycle, but probably not. I think still most likely. You're gonna now. That being said, like the triple LD banners, that's up for grabs. When we get that kind of stuff. But early 90s for some characters could be interesting. I mean, we are. I mean, we're 2 months away from C90, so like, I mean, we're not going to get C90 early. But we're pretty close. So at that point, yeah, we're not necessarily going to get. Although they do have some repeat BT banners where those characters don't get C90, so they could come back early. But that's not necessarily getting you to pull if you just C90 somebody that already exists. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, people are saying repeating BT pluses. Yeah,
could be.
they're easy to time travel.
Could be. It will be interesting. And hey, you could get a GL first at some point, anniversary. I don't know, who knows? It did happen with Core because Core's still not in JP, right? Core's going to be a Force Weapon character, right?
Yeah, I think for our 4th anniversary, they're just going to rerun the Core event.
Yeah, well, they may just rerun Core event for sure. Give us Core.
That's it. That's the surprise.
Core level 90. They could do Core level 90 and still not give us his Force Weapon.
That's true. That's true, actually.
Because Core's going to come with his Force Weapon. I can't foresee Core having a BT, right? So it's going to be Core with an LD and a Force Weapon. So yeah, give us his C90. That'd make him stupid, right? Can you imagine? His EX is already pretty good. You imagine that's why his EX is so good, because it's a C90 character. That's so good. Hey, well, thank you all. Appreciate you joining us. This has been episode 174 of the Crystal Chronicles. Looking ahead, we have the Boss Rush number 6 with Orin's LD on the 15th, and then the Squex Community mobile stream will be on Sunday, November 21st. So a little bit earlier in the month. So make sure that you're checking that out right before the holiday week here in the United States, the Thanksgiving week. If you're live, you can stick around for the post show. We might hang on and talk for a little bit. If you are watching on the video on demand or on your favorite podcast app, do give us a like, sub, ring the bell. You can join, become a member on YouTube, or subscribe on Twitch. You can follow on Twitch and like on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube, all for free. Or just give us a rating on your favorite podcast app. We appreciate it. Join our Discord. Hang out with us. For Minu and Mark, this has been episode 174 of the Crystal Chronicles, your Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast, recorded on November 11, 2021. Good luck on all your pulls. Good luck on all your fights. Until next week, friends. Goodbye. All right, we are in the post show. The answer is 61 episodes. And season 1 of the... Oh, hold on a second. Let me start this again. Welcome to the post show.
Do you want to move?
Yeah, let me move. And if anybody else wants to jump on of our group here. There we go. The answer to how many episodes were in season 1 of the Crystal Chronicles, the answer was 61. And the reason the answer was 61 is because season 1 of the Crystal Chronicles was the FFRK season. So
I didn't know that.
So season 1 was FFRK. And we did 61 episodes of the podcast exclusively for Final Fantasy Record Keeper, the mobile game. And then
I can listen to those. Did you guys start right when it launched?
You cannot listen to those. Yeah, they have not been saved. They are not on our website. So the all 174, so the 174 does not count those 61. So we have done 174 episodes of the DissidiaFFOO podcast. So that is season 2, 3, and 4. So we have done, I have been part of over 200 episodes of this podcast. So, but 174 of just DissidiaFFOO. When are we going to change to season 5? Probably in Force Weapons would be season 5, because LDBT era, Lufania era, even Lufania Plus isn't really a change. It's just to upgrade. So no reason to change at this point for that. Yeah. Yeah. What? I don't have any topics for post show. What were somebody asked something. Somebody was asking about BT tokens. They have some expiring BT tokens. If you're still, I forget who you were, but if you are still online with us and you want to ask, please go ahead. What BTs don't you have, and what are you thinking about? That would be good.
Soon. Jets in like 4 days or something.
Yeah, and can you wait for Jet or somebody else? So Garland's not a bad one. That's for sure. Garland is not a bad one. What am I doing here? Yeah, what am I doing? I'm making a podcast. That's what I'm doing. I know what all you are doing. I'm making a podcast. It's how the magic, a little behind the scenes on the post show. I take the video and I turn it into audio. That's how that works. So I don't remember who was asking about that. Oh yeah, Solo Rogue was asking. Oh, I'm in a dungeon. Oh, playing Final Fantasy 14. No.
AFK.
No. So we can't help you. What dungeon are you doing? Maybe we'll give you some tips. We'll backseat drive your dungeon.
It's all the same.
Would you guys rather have a BT on the first pull or an LD on your first pull every single time? LDs, yeah, 100%.
No post-show questionable takes. What kind of takes are you looking for?
We can come up with some questionable takes.
Throw it up. We always wing this shit. I mean, if there was nothing to talk about, I'm just gonna ask Mark how his personal life was going.
It's terrible.
Yeah, I was just like
bullshit.
I need to put into the outline to remind you to introduce me because I think.
Oh, I forgot.
We're at like a 50%.
Yeah,
whatever. Accuracy rate.
Yeah,
this time.
Whatever.
I always have like a bit lined up, and
I completely.
I'm just sitting on it. And
I completely forgot. I completely forgot.
You listen to podcasts. The first 15 minutes is just Mark.
Yeah,
I come in pretty late.
Yeah. Yeah. Welcome, Mino Smellgood. How's life going? In LA, COVID rates are going up. It's horrible. Hospitals are full. ICUs are overflowing. All three of my kids are home from school right now because each of them had exposures. So, so it's been great. It's been a great week. My colleagues' fathers died, so it's kind of been it's been the Mark show here at my work. So it's been great. Loving it, loving life. No, it's not been terrible, and it certainly could be a lot worse. But yeah, it kind of sucks.
Yeah, I get it.
It kind of sucks for the kids, because none of the kids. My daughter didn't test positive. Thankfully, she was exposed at school, and my boys were exposed at an event over the weekend. Just not really an event. They just got together with their cousin, and he had COVID. So, really sucks. But
Sam says, "What Lego set did you get?"
Oh well, I'm not doing that funeral. I did just complete my my Lego Harry Potter icon set. Oh, there is a collector's edition Imperial AT-AT that has been released. It's 6,500 pieces. It costs $800, but it's a full size AT-AT, and you can it has 40 seats for 40 snowtroopers inside of it. So you can actually take it apart, and there's 40 seats. So then you need to buy 40 freaking Lego snowtroopers. So $800 plus how many ever $100 to get your 40 snowtroopers. I probably will not be doing that, but I have racked up, unfortunately, a pretty good funeral fund this year, but not this week, thankfully. Although I do have a parishioner passing away right now as we speak, so there may be one here in the future. Full size, you can ride it. Yeah, no, to scale for Lego figures is what I meant. That's what I meant. Scale to Lego figures. But yeah, no, it really sucks the kids getting exposed because they're all on schedule to because all of my kids are from 5 to 11, so they've not been able to get vaccinated, and they're all scheduled to get their first vaccine shot on Tuesday. So hopefully my daughter's negative. Hopefully the boys they'll get tested tomorrow, and hopefully they'll be negative. And nobody's had F for the parishioners. We had our All Saints Day every year. All Saints Day is November 1st. All Hallows Day, All Saints Day, the day after All Hallows Eve, right? Is the day we remember the saints, both living and dead, but also kind of remember those who have died. And we light a candle for everyone who's died, and we lit over 40 this year. So Yeah, it sucks. I don't know what to tell people who aren't taking this shit seriously. It really sucks. People are dying. Yeah, still.
Because like I've been talking to fucking the other streamers and stuff, and it's just like they're like, oh, so happy to be able to like go out and live life again. I get you can't like keep people indoors all the time. Like you gotta compromise. Like I think I had a lot of friends and family travel to Europe this fall because it's open,
Right.
and it's just like it's a real. They're like France and the UK are real fuck it at this point.
Right.
Like they're like whatever happens happens. Like we're just gonna live our life. Ireland too, and like they're like everywhere they go, the people are like, we had the worst lockdown in the world.
Yeah.
Like every single place, they're like, we had the worst lockdown or something. But yeah, no, I mean, it's still going. It is what it is. I get it. People can't. Because I know, like, I think I have family traveling for the holidays. We're gonna meet up after 2 years of not doing it. So
yeah.
I can't say I'm perfectly abiding by that shit either.
No, and I mean, again, we've opened up things. We've been back in church since Easter. We're all wearing masks. We have never gone away from wearing masks. We're just not playing with that shit. The vast majority of our congregation is vaccinated. You're certainly welcome if you're not. But we're not taking cards or anything. I'm not playing that game. But it's just I'm so over the bullshit, the conspiracy bullshit, the YouTube video I saw, this weird kind of, we're all in our secret circle. We all have our Gnostic information. Yeah, believe me, I have a Master of Divinity degree. I know all about secret knowledge sects going back thousands of years. This is nothing new.
Secret knowledge sects?
Not Gnosticism is the back was one of the early
like
sects.
SECTS.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, sect.
Okay.
Yes, not sex.
Okay.
Secret knowledge sex. That's tantric sex. It's very good. Secret knowledge. Yeah, like Sting, tantric sex, where you can, you have sex for hours and hours on end. It's great.
That's what tantric means?
No, that's not what tantric means. I'm just describing what tantric sex is. Not at all. Doesn't mean anything like that. Oh, goodness. But yeah, no, so I'm not, I'm kind of over that kind of bullshit and just, we all got to make decisions and we all have to figure out, sending our kids back to school. You just got to make those decisions and it sucks. Like, I don't want to have to make those decisions. I don't want to have to put my kids in danger, but I also want my kids to be able to go to school. I also, I'm sick of seeing them at the house. So,
your kid's not going to school.
No. Well, they're all quarantined for this week because they all had exposures, so they can't go back to school for a week. But they've been going to school this year. So, yeah. But yeah, we're gonna plan to get together with immediate family over Thanksgiving. But not particularly extended family. And again, all of our immediate family is vaccinated, and the kids will be, thankfully. That was kind of the one holdout. My kids were just kind of in the age range where they couldn't get vaccines, and now all three of them are, thankfully. So, yeah.
Life's hard. Sounds a lot harder with kids, man. Every time I hear these stories, I'm like, man, do I really want kids? I don't know, man.
No, they're awful. You shouldn't have kids.
Yeah, probably.
No, they're wonderful, and they bring you joy and happiness, and no,
I think you're supposed
it is great.
You're supposed to have a bunch so that
I'm supposed to lie to you and tell you
they make a lot of money and support you in your old age.
Yes, yes. Yes, that is definitely the reason.
Like investments, right? Some people put their money into like mutual funds, and some people put their money into children.
Yeah, you put your hope in your kids. That's a real bad bet. Like, if I was going to give you sound financial advice, like if your options are have a bunch of kids and hope one of them turns out okay and gives you money, versus don't have any kids and just save and invest, I would go in the I would go in the actually just save and invest, because that is a roulette wheel that the house is not gonna be kind on that one. So
This is why Asian parents always tell their kids they
doctors,
have to be
lawyers,
doctors or lawyers, even though like the parents are like blue collar workers or whatever.
right?
Literally because of make money and support me.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
Because in Asian culture, right, like the parents are expected to live with the kids when they're grown. So that's why there's all those tiger moms and shit.
It is interesting watching. My colleague, his father just passed away this week. Him and I are both in our 40s, but our parents are both all in their 80s, and my wife is the same. Her mom is in her 80s, and so we all have parents who are older for people who are our age, and I deal with people in their 60s, 70s sometimes whose parents are still alive. And so they're trying to, it's interesting, like they're trying to retire, enjoy life, and they're dealing with ailing parents, or they're trying to take care of their parents who need medical care, nursing care, have dementia. And, what I'm trying to say is I'm glad my parents are old and they will be dead by the time I retire. It's a terrible thing I just said. And I know my parents, my parents have had some medical issues here this last couple of months, some cancer, in both of my parents actually. And my dad hates it, especially. He just because I'm their medical power of attorney, my wife and I. And so like, I want to be at all the doctor's appointments. I want to go, like I take them to stuff, and I'm like, Dad, you guys took care of me for all this time. I can go to a freaking appointment. And, they're kind of the generation where we don't want to do anything. Like, we don't want to like impose on you. Like, everybody in my family's super independent. And so the idea, like the last thing in the world, you were talking about Asian parents living with their kids. The last thing in the world my dad would want to do is move in with us. That would kill my dad. He would feel so put out. If he moved in with us. So yeah, we would kill each other too, so but that's a different situation.
Glad to hear that.
My mom and me would be fine. My mom and my brother fight apparently, so it's hard for me to understand, but that's true. Yeah.
Well, you got 3 kids, so that's 3 times the income when they're older.
No, well, thankfully during this pandemic, it's pretty good income right now because the government's paying me money to have kids, so that's real nice. Thank you for that early tax refund. I literally get a check from the government for $750 every month for my early tax refund through the pandemic this year. So, thank you government. I've used it on booze and defo. That's not true. That's not true. Ooh, a game of Clue. That would be fun. That would be fun.
Sweetwater Dream said, the saddest story I know is my friend whose parents were Catholic and her mother had a mental breakdown raising 9 children and her husband refused to stop wanting children.
Yeah, that's a model. And I have a lot of friends who have a lot of kids. Some people are just designed for that. I actually, there was a lady in my previous church who had one of her daughters. I think she had 6 kids. One of her daughters and her husband, just two human beings. So this is not like a mixed family, right? This is literally 2 human beings, had 19 children. They were not Roman Catholic. If you're not familiar, it's a big thing in the Roman Catholic Church not to use birth control to have kids, because that's kind of that's their marketing plan. Has been kind of the Roman Church's plan for a while, just to if you have enough kids and they keep being Catholic and they have kids, then you'll be fine. But yeah, I'm not making this up. They had 19 kids. They have 19 kids, and they're great and they love it. And I mean, at some point when you have this is my thing. Once you have 3, who cares? One has your entire attention. 2, if you're in a couple, 2 has 1 parent per person, right? If you're in a couple,
it's 2 on 2. It's even odds.
Even odds. 3, you are on defense. you are solo rogue. Yeah, please let us know which BTs you want. 3, you're on defense. You're outnumbered. It's awful. So anything after 3, who cares? Because at some point after 3, hopefully the older ones will start taking care of the little ones. And so yeah, if you have 19 kids, like the older ones are raising the little ones. Like my brother's 11 years older than me. He like practically. Can the wife still? Yeah, she's great. They're great people. They're just wonderful people. And they don't all live in the same house now because the older kids are adults now and have their own kids. But yeah, no, they're awesome people. They're great. You'd love them. I mean, they're people you'd hang out with. They just love having kids. I mean, like, and they can afford it. So God bless them. I will tell you what.
What are they, fucking millionaires?
They're not. Super wealthy, but they're not poor. They have 19 kids. They're not wealthy, but they're not poor.
I mean, like to be able to afford that in the first.
Yeah, he's an engineer, I think, and I think she works. Not once the kids got older, she was able to work.
Like I got a lot of friends and family that are having kids now, and so my nephew just had a 2-year-old birthday party like last week, and there's a shit ton of kids. And it was just kids running around and the parents chatting about being parents because all these kids are like 4 and under, right? So these are all like relatively new parents. And a lot of them are like 2. One had 3. And all they were talking about is how expensive it is to have kids and how for most people 1 or 2 is the cutoff. You know, the person that had 3 there was like the hero. They're like, 3 kids? They're like, that's so much. Well, again, we live in LA too, though. So... it's expensive as shit, but like I know people who make a solid family income of 6 figures, and when I say solid 6 figures, I mean family income of like 300 to 500K, and that is enough for 2 kids, maybe for most people here. Because if you want to do the private school, and you want to do the quality like money stuff, like private school for 2 kids is like 100K a year. You know, and that's not like everything else. That's not like extracurriculars. That's not like sports and camps and whatever else they need, braces, doctor visits. Holy shit. Like, oh my God. Like
they eat
and like, yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, they eat.
They eat. And like my generation right now really is, how many kids do you want? The answer is always depends on how much we can make.
Yeah, Retro Gamer Dad 100%. Says, I cannot emphasize enough that kids do not have to be expensive. He just throws his kids in a pack and play and dog kennel. Yeah, you don't need $300,000 to afford 3 kids. But what Mino's saying is in that part of the world, and if you want to do what some of the business elite, the Silicon Valley folks.
We're talking like, so like where I live, if you live in LA, you're doing something like working high up at Google, or I got family in Hyperloop. I've got like tech recruiters, lots and lots of engineers. Like, look, to live in LA, you gotta there's a reason why so many people are moving out of LA. To stay here, you gotta be on top of your game. And those people usually, when they raise kids, it is expensive as shit.
Pikachu says kids care more about the time you spend with them than the money you spend on them. That's bullshit, Pikachu. You know what kids like? Kids like cash and stuff, and they ask for it all the time. So, of course, your kids really appreciate eventually the time you spend with. Eventually. It's a reality check. There's a lot of studies out there. It's a reality check, the difference between private schools and public schools. Yeah.
There's a very, 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 very big difference between kids who go to private school and public school.
Well, our schools here in the United States are a mess right now. I mean, our education system has not been doing well.
100%. And it's like,
not on teachers. Hey, props to teachers. God bless you. The system, like healthcare, and nothing against nurses, doctors. I live with a nurse. My mom's a teacher, right? I mean, I love these people. The healthcare system is a mess here. Education system there's been some mistakes made.
Yeah. And there's like a lot of realities, I guess, for some reason are not faced in the US. Like in Asia, they're very straightforward of if you don't go to a good school, you're not going to get into a better college
Yeah.
and you're not going to have a good career. That's the straight cut in Asia. Anyone who's lived in Asia knows it is very fucking rigid. Like if you didn't get into a good middle school, you're not getting into a good high school, you're not getting into a good college, you're not going to get a good job. It's flat out in Asia. That's why the suicide rates for high schoolers are so high there. If they fuck up and they don't get into a good high school, boom, they're like, well, why even try it? Like I'm set for life. I know I hit a cap. In America, it's a little less cut and dry because of the American dream and stuff. But like the studies show, like there's a huge advantage to private school over public.
Or living in I mean, my school district is arguably better than a lot of other school districts in my county because I live in a wealthier town. And, you know, the revenue for schools is based on tax revenue. So
yeah. So I have several friends who are public school teachers, and they're always like, guys, like public school, it's a lottery. Like the quality of the schools are so uneven, and where your kids go depend on your zip code. That's it. Like
exactly.
You have no idea.
Yeah.
You have no idea if they're going to get a good education or not. And then that's leaving behind the fact that in private schools, it's not only a higher quality of education, but it's also the connections.
Yeah.
Networking.
Those
kids forge.
Yep, networking.
The connections those kids forge, the peer groups they grow up into, and then when it comes to the colleges and businesses, the pedigree of where they went. It matters so much when you shoot for a certain level.
So, Solar Rogue, were you going to tell us what BT shoot? Feel free anytime. What are your options? We want to help you out with your BT crisis. Make sure that you actually don't have to use them too. So, there are ways to save some extra BT tokens. Give yourself a few extra days. Titus and Ace exposing. Well,
Ace is great.
Ace is great right now. Titus comes back with his BT Plus in a few months and is good. So, if you want to use Ace right now, use Ace. If you don't care about using Ace right now and you've beaten all the content, I'd say Titus. Oh, if Titus is a fave, yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, go for your fave.
Never.
But Ace has been carrying me for a bit.
But I mean, I don't. If you've completed all the content right now, I think Titus is probably the better option, right? Because I mean, Ace is still going to be viable for quite some time, but Titus is going to be better, at some point. I mean, they have different play styles too, so I guess maybe whoever's play style you like. I think my general advice would be obviously first, who's your favorite? Second, whose play style do you like? Third, Titus.
There's still some lingering conversation about last topic. I thought of something I wanted to say. It's everyone's saying, oh, of course, like you have an advantage if like of course you can pay for an advantage for your kids, but if they work really hard, you can go from a public school to Harvard. But here's the thing. All you people saying
That's
this,
nice.
How many of you people don't synergy metastomp content
That's
in default?
Nice.
Yeah, like guys,
Nice.
like let's be realistic. It's always nice to say that you can overcome the odds, but honestly, if you ask anyone, they will always want the best possible chances and best possible setup.
You can be that poor kid from the inner city going to the broken down school, and you can fight your way and do your best and make your life. That is the American dream. But it's not like you would rather not do it if you had the option.
That's like saying, hey, you could play Defo without a single, with only EX Plus characters, but what are you gonna do better and have a bigger gem count than the people who are luck sacking everything? Like real talk. Too many people don't want to face the reality of statistics.
Right, and there's a lot of situations where all the hard work in the world is not gonna change any, especially right now. That's like in the United States, again, if you're an international listener and you're not familiar with a little bit of our history, back post World War II, so we're talking 50s, 60s, 70s, you could literally graduate high school, get a job that you worked at for 40 years, retired with full benefits, and live for another 30 years, and raise a family of 2, 3, 4, buy a house, have a couple of cars, go on vacations. I mean, that was kind of the nuclear family dream. And that was available to you with little or no effort. Like, you could live in the middle of nowhere where I grew up, go to school, go to high school, get a job at the factory, work for 40 years. Yeah, it's hard work, but hey, pays the bills, not too terrible. You got a pension and live the rest of your life. And, again, we're able to buy a house. We're able to, do that. That ain't the world we live in anymore. Like, I don't know about you, but so I graduated I graduated college in 2003. Of my entire friend group, which, included people a few years older than me and people a few years younger than me, I think there were 2 of us who actually used our college education to do what we wanted to do professionally, and both of us had to go get graduate level degrees. One of my friends, one of the guys that we play 14 with, who's a lawyer, had to go to law school, and myself, who had to go to divinity school and get a master's degree, and then enter that process to become a pastor.
How much money that is too, because my brother-in-law is a lawyer,
a lot,
and he had to make really good money and pay off his law school loans.
Yeah.
In his late 30s.
Oh, and
he's almost 40.
I had people. Yeah. I graduated seminary with people who literally could not go into ministry because they could not pay off their horrible debt from undergrad and graduate school to be a pastor, because being a pastor doesn't pay well. So yeah, they literally had to go into the private sector to make enough money to pay off their debt. But yeah, most of the people that I graduated college with did not go on to do something that required even a college degree, or was in their field at all. I mean, I had friends go back, graduate college, go back to working at Walmart, go back to working at a call center.
You have to be really competitive. People don't I think in the old days, as long as you had the degree, the mentality was, as long as I have the degree, I'm set. As long as I have an engineering degree, I can work as an engineer, and they make a baseline salary. It's super competitive.
Yeah, now you need a degree, a specialization, and experience to even get a internship.
Yeah. So not only the degree is just your the degree is just your foot in the door. You also have to be better than everybody else too.
Yeah.
To get a job, because
you
gotta fight.
If you're all the kids out there who are thinking about their future, here in the United States at least, hey, definitely, not a terrible time to go into military. That's actually a pretty good career path. We need a lot of nurses, not a terrible career path. Truck drivers, need a lot of truck drivers, all good career paths. A lot of good technical skills, a lot of tech people, a lot of tech schools. Yeah. Yep. Sell your kidneys, you can sell your sperm and your blood and your plasma, and one of your kidneys. And man, if you're a woman, you can sell your eggs. So that's big money.
C-Sam says, fuck that. When you work somewhere, they learn if you know shit or not. Look, I got to hire people. I'm pretty sure Mark has to hire people. Yeah. When you have hundreds of applicants, again, this is so ironic to me, because a lot of people research their polls before they pull it. It's not, hey, I'm going to pull all the characters and then see who's good. That's not how the world works. No, you gotta make a choice beforehand. And that's why it's falling down to experience. That's why it's falling down to credentials. It's competitive. I don't know why so many people are our age and still don't understand. When you live in this world, you're competing with everybody else for resources. That's just nature.
And man, go to trade school as opposed to go to college to find yourself. That's an expensive trip to find yourself. Your psychology degree That's bullshit. That's nothing. You're not doing anything with your psych degree. Your liberal arts degree is not. That's not treating you very well these days. So make sure before you spend a lot of money on private college. Go to community college. Nothing wrong with that. In-state, school. Nothing wrong with that. Hopefully by the time my kids are old enough, we'll have some of that figured out. So it's not it's not so predatory and so for-profit hospitals and for-profit schools are definitely not ideal in my opinion. But that's me.
It's rough, right? Because I think the world population is rising, so
Yeah.
of course you have to compete more.
Well,
and
and
more
I
as
mean,
time goes on.
you have there are more people living today than have ever lived on Earth. Like
Yeah.
like that. I mean, it's a hard thing to wrap your head around. But even in the last 100 years, there was not 8 million people living on the Earth, and there's more. Well, maybe not with COVID, but 8 million people living on the 8 billion people living on the Earth 100 years ago. And so to think, in the first, how many ever 1,000 years of human existence, geez. How many billions of people lived? Well, not 8. So yeah, there's a lot of people, and so that makes issues pretty bad. It sucks. I would just I got a lot of nieces and nephews they're making their way, they're doing good, they're finding ways to get done, but even my kids, thinking about, man, it's just it's sucky time to enter into the workforce, to try to find your way, try to find a career. I know a lot of younger millennials, a lot of Zoomers are, trying to kind of piecemeal their career together, doing a few different things they enjoy, just to be able to pay the bills. And God bless you if you can figure that out, because, man, it's not easy. I have a lot of compassion for everybody out there.
Ethan Wong saying, how about getting that 2-year unpaid internship for experience for
Yep.
entry-level jobs? So I don't know if Mark had to do this, but this is what my generation had to do. Right, my generation were the millennials that came right during the what's it called? Not depression. What's it called?
A recession. The Great Recession.
Yeah, we graduated right during the Great Recession, and that was the start of, you need this much experience to get an entry-level job. So what we learned early on, and I'm pretty fucking sure this still holds true, is that the reason you go to college is because they set you up with internships.
Yeah.
It is so much easier to get internships when you're in a program in college, and that's how these college grads are able to get these entry-level jobs with 2 years experience. And that's why a 2-year experience is standard, because there's so many people fighting for these jobs. They know that the hardcore people are going to college, which again takes money, and then doing internship programs in their junior and senior year. That is the standard now. The bare minimum to get a good job now is you better be going to college, and you better be knowing what the fuck you want to do in college. No being undecided for 4 years and finding yourself. Nowadays, you better know what the fuck your major is when you go into college. It's a hard call, I know. Like, it's unreasonable to ask, 18-year-old kids what they want to do for the rest of their lives. That's why, I guess, everyone's saying bank on something practical, like accounting or computer programming or something like that. You take that 2-year internship while you're in school, and then you're set. I talk to too many fucking people who go to college and just have fun and don't do the internships, and they don't declare their major early, and then they get fucked when they graduate.
Yeah, so I graduated college and then did not immediately go to grad school because in my system, going to grad school and then the process of becoming a pastor are two different tracks. And so I had to do 1 year to become a pastor. There's some introductory things you have to do. In my system, our system is very intense. It took me about 10 years from the time that I said I want to go into ministry to the time I was ordained was about 10 years. So I had to spend an entire year just basically volunteering as in leadership in my local church. So after I graduated college, I'm working at a truck stop, and I am basically volunteering as a leader for a year. And then I did an internship at a hospital which I had to pay for as a chaplain, and worked 60 to 80 hours a week as a chaplain, and I paid for that privilege. Oh yes, I paid for that because that was a different type of education, but kind of an internship. And then I started seminary, and then I did an internship that paid $5,000 for a year at a church, kind of as a youth pastor. And then I was appointed to my first church as a student pastor while I finished seminary, and that was quarter time, although it was a 60-hour quarter time, and that paid me $15,000 a year. And so, it wasn't until several years later that where I would actually, start making money. And then it was $30,000. That was my first year of full-time income was $30,000. So. Was I celibate as a missionary?
It's not a thing for Christian pastors, right?
You're celibate in if you're Roman Catholic, if you're a priest.
Yeah, yes.
I am not celibate. I am married, and I have 3 kids. So they're not biologically my children, mind you. No. So I was not. I don't even know how to answer that. No, I guess no.
Soraya and Retro Gamer Dad, I'm addressed. So Soraya saying it's a stupid system, but we should definitely look for alternatives, but understanding reality is the first step. That's where I'm at. I always talk to like Macnol about this stuff, and like Macnol's very anti-capitalism, and I understand like this is the world we're in. And they're very like optimistic, strong people, I think, that want to change the system. And I think that's admirable. My take on life, just like my take on games, isn't to find a new path, because mine's is to learn the system and win at the system. It's not helping the problem, but it's definitely not getting crushed by the fucking system either. That's how I approach it. I mean, Mark took a rather untraditional path. I mean, do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, no. I can talk. Sweetwater James. Yes, Roman Catholic or Roman Church priests cannot get married. They have to be celibate completely. We are supposed to be celibate in singleness. So I'm not going to comment on that. But I was not. I had sex before I was married.
Yeah, Mark fucks, guys.
This
guy fucks.
Like before I entered ministry, but that's the different situation. What's the difference? Well, all Christians are Catholic. Catholic means universal. So all Christians are Catholic. Roman Catholicism is a denomination of Christianity. So the fact that they call themselves Catholic is bullshit. That's just their bullshit. That they are Roman Christians. There are Roman Christians, there are Greek Christians, there are Lutheran Christians, there are Presbyterian Christians. The main sects of Christianity are Protestantism, Roman Catholic, and Greek Orthodox. So again, orthodoxy, same thing. Orthodox means the standard, the right way. So the fact that they call themselves Orthodox, kind of bullshit, right? That's a whole different conversation. But yes, when I decided to become a pastor, then I took a vow of celibacy in singleness, which I broke when I got married. So there you go. But before that, I was not a pastor and I was doing other things. So that's a different situation.
RGD and CSAM are saying they're saying it's bullshit because no 18 to 22-year-old knows what they want to do for the rest of their life. It's true, they don't. I think in this day and
most
age,
40-year-olds don't know what they want to do for the rest.
I think this day and age, gap years are not a terrible alternative. I know a lot of people that take a gap year to work and then really discover what they want to do. But the reality is, how I see it, how my peer group sees it, is once again, life is a competition, and it's okay to take longer to figure out what you want to do, but there are going to be kids out there who figure out what they want to do early, and they're gonna have an advantage. That's all. No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
Like life is a competition.
Yeah.
You can say take your time and enjoy it, but when you're fighting for resource and you're fighting for jobs, there are gonna be people out there who are on their shit earlier and have a much bigger head start.
So
that's why that's why at 30 years old there are 30-year-old gas pumpers and 30-year-old CEOs. Like the gap between people at the same age at 30 is enormous. But what are you going to say?
I was going to go back to kind of my analogy in terms of, changing the system. You have to, I mean, the church has issues. My denomination, I'm United Methodist, my denomination has quite a few issues right now. My feeling, because I felt called to this work, was I'd rather try to fix it while working with it than blowing it all up and starting over. Sometimes you got to blow things up and start over. I've literally done that with churches, had my suggestion be let's stop and then restart. But overall, there's a lot of good things, I think, in my denomination. Sweetwater Dream says all the different sects of Christianity have different interpretations of the same book. Yeah, that's if you've read the book, you'd realize pretty easy. Pretty easy. It's not an instruction manual. And nor does anybody read it in its original language, nor does anybody have the original manuscripts from the various different 60 plus books that the library of books that it is contained. So I do think, I think that we have a lot of flaws here in the United States. I think it's not, and in our world, but I think it's not too late that we can't fix things. Although some days I am pretty close to just kind of, anarchy, just complete, utter anarchy, and let's figure it out. Let's see what happens. But I'm pretty, I'm pretty close to the edge of socialist anarch. But yeah, so I'm pretty one step away, one drink away from just being completely against the system. But I am the man within the system at the moment. So
yeah. Z Sector says, if you guys are given the option, would you move to a different country? As someone who's traveled quite a bit and has family in Asian, like first of all, people were saying, oh, America's too focused on competition and pro wealth. Guys, Asia's way worse. Are you guys fucking kidding me?
Are you real? Come on.
Asia is not
everywhere is. That's
Asia
everywhere.
Is so much worse. Asia's knowledge and test expectations of the same grades compared to the US are way higher.
Yeah.
Like you like that's you guys don't understand.
Like the suicide rates in Japan are real bad.
Yeah, because it's like, look, if you fucked up as a 10-year-old kid, you're done. Sorry, your future's set. You're fucked. And that's why they have the #1 suicide rate in the world.
Hope you like the Squid Game, because that's your future.
Yeah. Squid Game is your future.
Squid Game, that's it. That's all you got, man.
But also, here's another thing a lot of Americans don't fucking realize is that America enjoys a lot of status as being #1. Like we're #1 in culture wars. Like we spread our culture and our movies. Like there's a government budget for Hollywood to make movies to spread to other countries so that everyone's familiar with America. That's why we push keyboards in Arabic letter, et cetera, right? Like there's a lot of influence to America. You could move to these smaller the countries that sound more ideal, like I had friends that
Norway,
moved to Sweden.
Sweden,
Norway. You could live there, but
if you're white.
Trust me,
if you're white,
you will. Yeah.
Tons of racism.
Here's one thing. People that live in America, you don't understand. Like the racial diversity and cultural diversity outside of America is so much smaller.
Zero.
Yeah. And you lose a lot of perks you guys don't even think about. Like all these people who always say, "Oh, when things go south, I'm gonna move out of the." How many of you people have actually lived in a different country? Because I have, and I have friends and family who have, it's not always better. There's a reason why still so many people come to America. I don't think you guys have that outside perspective. And then it's also why, like you're saying, oh, it's too competitive. Well, it's also why there's this big fear that China is going to take over in our lifetimes as number one, because they are pushing their
Yeah.
population so much harder right now because they really want to take that top spot because there's a lot of perks in being in that top spot.
Yeah.
So many fucking perks.
Yeah, China.
Yeah.
China's got all the perks of capitalism with all the perks of communism. So all the good things, all the dream crushing, just in one country. It's awesome. They're doing great. It will be interesting. I've read some interesting economic writings, I guess, articles from economists, kind of talking about, is there a point, because it could happen, where China's economy does so well it basically implodes? Like there is a potential where your economy can grow so big so fast that you basically just self implode. And then one of the things that is the another interesting thing about the way China is advancing and moving is the fear of a middle class in China, right? Like if there's ever a middle class that could completely like just destroy everything. And of course the middle class has kind of been shrinking here in the United States, and
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it is shrinking.
Interesting.
Yeah. Soraya says, Japan having a designated forest to kill yourself is kind of a bad sign. That's true. Do you guys remember why Paul Logan got in so much trouble? Because he literally went to that forest looking for hung bodies and he found them pretty easily. Like, it's a very, very real. How many of you people are actually educated on lifestyles out in other countries, guys? It's not sunshine and rainbows outside of the U.S.
I mean,
there's
the Scandinavian countries where my people hail from, they are perfect. So any of my Norwegian, Swedish, Danish, Dutch, Netherlands friends out there, God bless you. It's a great place. I have traveled outside the U.S. and there are places that I would love to be. I would love to, but yeah, I love, I was born and raised here. I like it. I don't have any desire to leave outside of where I am here. And it snows and it gets cold and it gets hot and everything else. So, I mean, I think part of it is just, this is kind of what I'm used to. And I have traveled the world and had some wonderful experiences and great. Yeah. At Ponds, we got people from all over the world on our Discord, and that's really cool too. And yeah, I don't hold this, America's number one, everybody else is bullshit. Although we do fight amongst our states and amongst our cities about which state is the best and which everything else. Come to Australia. I've never been to Australia. And I would like to go to Australia and New Zealand at some point. In my travels.
I want to do New Zealand. I was supposed to have I was supposed to take a big New Zealand trip last year, but pandemic, right? Fucking first world problems.
Yeah, I would definitely like to come to Australia someday. That'd be cool.
Muhammad on YouTube is saying, I just joined in the past 10-15 minutes, and I agree in general with you guys. But just to add, there are practical degrees that are still open to various areas when you decide what you want to do.
Yeah.
Such as getting an engineering degree, for example, is very popular because you can either go into consulting, finance, investments, etc. Like there's a lot of options, right? And that's why I don't know what it's like for like Mark or whatever, but like, I grew up Asian. I'm in an Asian family. I run with a lot of Asian peer groups. That's why they really push the doctor, lawyer, engineer thing, because they're like, get a practical. Oh, now computer program.
Well, my sister-in-law is Chinese, so her Taiwanese, excuse me.
Gross.
Yeah. So be careful. I screwed that up. So my sister-in-law, her parents, and she was born in Taiwan. Her parents are from Taiwan. Her father was big Silicon Valley programmer guy, right? So they moved over to California, and she was born and raised in the United States. Her brother and sister were born and raised, or she was raised in the United States. Her brother and sister are born and raised in the United States. She went to Stanford. She came to she kind of became the outcast. She came to the University of Chicago and did her master, and she got a doctor degree. Worked at Fermilab, with the big accelerator, everything else. So she has a degree in accelerated physics. She is a doctor of accelerated physics. My brother is a doctor of experimental psychology. So they both went, and they're older. They're both in their late 40s, early 50s. My brother's 50. She's 45. She's the same age as my wife. And so they're both Gen Xers, right? Neither of them work in that field at all. Like my brother has never worked in psychology. My sister-in-law has never worked in physics, but because they have PhDs in such education, they've been able to get business degrees, consulting degrees, tech degrees. They've been able to work in those fields their entire life, and they've worked in high business because of, they went on and got that training and had those opportunities, like, working at Fermi Labs and everything. Yes, my brother is literally, they're both crazy. My brother and sister-in-law are both insane. Yes, you cannot have a doctor of, I've never met a PhD physicist who was not completely insane. And yes, experimental psychology is literally being a mad doctor, mad scientist. So yeah, it's pretty crazy, but yeah, neither of them have ever worked in their field, but they had all those education, they did all those internships, they had all these experiences, all this, and so they were able to fall into things pretty easily. My sister-in-law has worked for all kinds of different companies all over the world. She worked for Ernst & Young, she worked for Microsoft, she worked for some private stuff. My brother works for a company called Moz as an SEO. He works in search engine optimization now. And that's a made up industry in the last 10 years, right? So, but they are super competitive. They are super ambitious, focused, do anything they can to get forward kind of people. So, but they also have a ton of education and a lot of experience too. So,
yeah, part of what you said is like, oh yeah, when your education is that high, it's easier to get degrees. It's all synergy. There's a lot of overlapping classes and stuff. So when you get one degree, it's a less work to get another equivalent degree.
Yeah.
That's why there's people running around with multiple doctorates and stuff, or multiple majors, because if you plan well, you get a lot of overlap. But also Z Sector says, how about this, changing his question, would you move to a different state if given the option?
Mino doesn't believe that there are other states.
I don't believe there are other states. Well, I guess New York.
Even within California, right? For us, it's probably, I don't foresee leaving Illinois anytime soon. The only other place I would foresee us moving from Illinois would be Georgia. Which is the widest state. I don't know if you can get wider than Georgia. It's a great place. There is a lot of diversity in Georgia, believe me, but it's Georgia. They've got some interesting things, but we love it down there, and we have family down there, so that would be another place that we would potentially move, but I don't foresee. I am not in Wisconsin. No, I lived very close to Wisconsin for several years.
That's racist. Wisconsin. Why would Mark be from Wisconsin?
Yeah, that is racist. Why would you say? No, I live in Illinois. I live 40 minutes from Chicago. Live in the suburbs.
So every year I take a forced vacation because you get a lot of PTO and you have to use it.
You like cheese.
So every year I take a forced vacation, and then this year, if you guys remember, I went to the wilderness in Washington. So every year I do this forced vacation to the middle of nowhere in another state, just to see another state and just to remind myself how good I have it. So I think I went to the Washington Canadian border this year, right next to the border. You could walk to the border. Unfortunately, the border was closed, so it was just a bunch of national parks and stuff. So I pitched a tent in a national park. And
whoa! I think that's illegal. You can't just.
Just sat there for 2 weeks,
Just pitch a tent
and
wherever you
no,
want.
I got a permit, so it's all above board,
Oh.
Mark. No, and so I just sat in a tent and ate Nutrigrain bars for like 2 weeks,
So good.
because that's how you save money, and that's how you remind yourself
Did
how good you have.
was that great? Was that a great experience? Yeah.
I guess so. What I'm trying to say is I've been to a lot of more rural places in the world. I travel a lot. No,
Like
no, like other than
national
the middle of
parks.
nowhere states. Like yeah, like middle America. Jesus Christ. No, but like also like Ireland.
Yeah.
Is very much more slow paced.
Yes.
Lots of parts of Europe. I think France,
Yeah.
much more slow paced. Like I've been to a lot of places, and I always tell myself because I live in like downtown city. It's always so busy. I was like, God, I wish I could go to the middle of nowhere and like live in a cabin and just do my own thing. But whenever I do this for like 2-3 weeks a year on vacation, I get so fucking bored.
Yeah.
Like I cannot take how slow life is. Like I think I went to Ireland and was like B&Bing. I mean in like farmhouses and stuff like that, or like just like even their cities are kind of small. Like what do? You go to like the pub every evening, just get some food, walk
Yeah,
along the
my
beach.
this pandemic did not treat my wife well. She hates like I don't want to sit at home like all the time, but like I can be at home for a day and be okay. My wife needs to be doing things all the time. So yeah, living in. I mean, we've lived in small towns, and we're both from small towns, but you know, small towns where you could go, and that's why we're used to driving. Like, yeah, like I don't. I'll drive 3 hours to go do something. I don't care, right? Like on a Tuesday, that's like who cares? Like people. I mean, people where I grew up, which was a town of about 20,000 people. Most of my friends growing up had never been to Chicago, which was an hour and a half away. Well, my parents were born and raised, and my brother too, born and raised in Chicago. So yeah, we went to Chicago all the time because that's where stuff was. You don't have to go to Chicago. I mean, the town where I was had stuff. I still lived in I lived in a town where, like growing up, like we had a comic book shop that I could walk to and a, penny candy, dollar store kind of thing. And like, you could like go downtown and there was things you could just do. Like as a kid, you could just like hang out. That's not really that way, but I live in a suburb now, so there's all kinds of crap all the time.
Yeah, and Z Sector's saying like, oh, come to Banff and Whistler if you want that middle of nowhere life. I've been to Banff. Banff is beautiful, by the way, Z Sector. But also he said, don't do it 2 weeks straight. Do it in spurts of 3 to 4 days
Ooh.
only. Well, here's the thing. This is if I can't do it for 2 weeks, how the fuck am I gonna live somewhere like that?
Right. Yeah.
Like I have no like because so when I travel. I usually do B&Bs, and then it's fun chatting to the people that own it. So like I was saying, like, and I was in Ireland before the pandemic, and I was
Mm.
talking to these people who like own who live on farms and stuff. I was living in like their back house or something, and I was just chatting, with the hosts to pass time, and I was like, like what's life like out here? And they're like, there's like one school, all the kids know each other, like all the parents know each other. They're like we don't like our town doesn't have like an official handyman, but we have like people go around help. I'm like, what's there to do? They're like, TV.
Yeah, we
You
got
know,
we got the BBC.
yeah, you hang out in the pub. Like everyone in town knows each other because they're always in the pubs in the evenings and stuff like that. And I'm just like, how do people live like this? I was like, I always fantasize, grass is greener on the other side. I always fantasize that like living in a small town is great because you're away from the hustle and bustle of the city and there's no pressure to climb the ladder at your job and do all this stuff. Like you can earn a modest living and be fine. But I was like, dude, I get so fucking bored in the middle. And
Yeah,
it's
your restaurant options are three.
yeah, exactly.
Like
Right?
you have
Yeah, like 3 restaurant options.
you have a bar, you have a pizza place.
Yeah, I know, right? And so like I talked to like and I think that's also a city person problem too, because like I was just at a wedding a month ago too, and catching up with all these high school friends, and they have some like they're now like married or dating people who aren't originally from LA, and they're like, oh, I miss the suburbs. I miss the, like the slower pace of life. And then their spouse is like, What? Like how do people live without, like, in LA, I can choose from 17 different, like, Michelin stars within like 5 miles,
Yeah,
right?
the
Or like
the town the
cuisines.
town I was born in, it's not really a town. The place that I was born in is home to 120 people. There is a
My
there
God.
is a grain elevator. There used to be a post office. There used to be a school. There is no longer, and there is a church. So there is the Methodist Church. Um, there is a grain elevator, and there is a post office slash general store, which I don't believe is open right now. And it is 20 minutes from any other also small town. So like I mean, um, yeah, it used to be. Yeah, it was. Yeah. My wife's hometown is about 1,200 people. There is right now they've it's increased. There are two churches. There is a gas station, a Casey's General Store gas station. There is three restaurants. I think there's now four restaurants. So they've really come a long way. Their little downtown is kind of hopping. Post office. And then you're about 20 minutes away from towns of 25,000 that have more stuff. I currently live in a town of 25,000, surrounded by a lot of other towns between 25 and 100,000. So I do live within, and I live less than an hour away from Chicago. So I do live within driving distance of pretty much anything I need, which is kind of, I kind of live in a town that's kind of got a small town feel to it, but it's also not small and is real close to things that are a lot bigger. So, and it's probably no different than where you live because, LA is the same size as the entire Chicago metropolitan area. It's huge land wise, right? It's a massive,
We're the biggest county in the
yeah,
country.
it's
Yeah.
a massive land region. Now,
Apparently
ton more people
we
packed
have
in there too.
we have more funding and power than most states.
Oh, yeah.
Just LA County.
Oh, yeah. 100%, right?
Yeah. And like I was saying, like I can't imagine living somewhere where I don't have access to like authentic food from every culture
Right.
whenever I want. I can't imagine living in a place where everything closes at 9 p.m. I've lived in suburbs. Hell, just Orange County. Orange County is a neighboring county
Yep.
to Los Angeles County, and that's all suburbs. And I lived there for a while for my job, and it was such a culture shock to be like, "Hey, I'm hungry at 9. Where can we get food?" Nowhere. Everything's shut down. You're done. Like, you
Yep.
gotta wait till tomorrow morning.
Pretty much.
Oh, okay. Well, can we go to a bar? Like, oh, you got
Nope.
like two options. Okay, can we go to a club, or is there like like a show going on? No. It's like after 9 o'clock, everyone shuts down. You're just hanging out at home. Man, did I smoke a lot of weed those years, and drink a good amount and play a lot of video games? Like, holy shit, was life boring? There was nothing to do after like 9-10 p.m. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I can't imagine. Like, right before the pandemic, I was living in downtown. Like, literally, I could be like, I'm hungry at 1. I can leave and walk to a like pho restaurant, or go to a bar, go to a club. Like, it was just such easy access. I can't imagine life without that. Can't imagine life without the amazing food. I can't imagine life without spotting celebrities every other week, just walking around doing their own thing. Like at my In and Out alone, I've seen like, Ted Danson, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, just coming in, getting food, hanging out, Craig Robinson, etc. It's just like, or like having a lot of big events happen here.
Yeah.
Like every time I went to go see an Iron Man on release, Robert Downey Jr. and John Favreau were there, saying hi to the audience. I can't imagine life without that. I can't imagine life without the big release events for like shoes and records and etc. Like, I feel like there's a reason people fight to be in the big city. Like, there's a reason people put up with all this shit. It is funny though. I think I was just chatting the other day with my FF14 buddies. I was telling them about my house hunt, and they were like, "How do you live in LA? Because for 600K, I can't afford a house. It's like a 1,000 square foot condo
Yeah,
here.
right.
Two bedrooms, one bathroom, maybe 1.5. And they're like, yo, in Texas, that's like a 5,000 square foot house with like 4 bedrooms
Well,
and 3
yeah, I mean,
bathrooms.
so my and this was pre-housing, but when my brother and sister-in-law lived downtown Chicago, and they lived on the river in a gated kind of like not a gated community, but like a gated thing in the city, like downtown. Like you literally had to go into a gate, and then there was like brick streets and fountains, like on a Chicago city block. It was kind of creepy, and it was next to a chocolate factory, so it smelled like chocolate all the time. So it was real nice. But anyway, they lived. So there were like townhomes right there on the lake. They were about $1.5 million. They lived in the condo building, and they had a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, kitchen, living room condo, $500,000, right? And that's why people lived where I grew up in Ottawa. Because $500,000 buys you the biggest mansion in Ottawa, and you can get on the train and be in Chicago in an hour, hour and a half, and then you have several acres and a big fat mansion on two rivers that don't smell like butt. So I mean, yeah, it's something you got to consider, right? I mean, I know. I mean, I don't have any idea what my house is worth actually, but because I don't own it. But but I live in a pretty big house. That would cost you an arm and a leg to own this. Even here, I mean, I'm sure would be expensive to buy it. I think our houses are $300,000-$400,000 to live in this area. So, yeah, but you're talking, my brother and sister-in-law live in one of the wealthier, if not the wealthiest suburb in the Chicago area, and yeah, I think their $1.5 million castle is whew, yeah. When does Mark
get hip? Yeah,
with the young kids?
Hip with the young kids.
Yeah,
Talking about vapes and pog champs.
First of all, I love Pog. Used to play Pog growing up, so big fan of Pog. Don't vape, kids. I think that's the advice. If you think vaping is a safer version of smoking, you've been drinking the Kool-Aid.
There's no data on that.
There's no data either way. No, there is actually been new research on that coming out right now.
They're trying.
Yeah, it's
as
bad.
somebody who
Yeah.
as somebody
you
who
work in health.
directly
Yes.
works- Yeah, I work directly
Yes.
with that because I'm a CDIP, chronic disease and injury prevention. Smoking falls under that category. And what it is they were pushing cigarettes on kids, Joe Camel, decades ago. It took about 50 years for the government to come out with conclusive research data and evidence that smoking is bad for you.
Yeah.
A very, very, very long fight. It's finally sinking in, pushing a lot of raising the age to purchase cigarettes to 21.
Yep.
Banning smoking in like airplanes in a lot of places. Like very, very slowly, smoking has been dying faster and faster and faster. How do they counter this? Well, because smoking has been conclusively proven to be fucking awful to the environment, to everyone around you, to yourself, they introduced vaping. And they're like, hey, here's a new way to ingest tobacco. And there's no conclusive evidence that it's bad. So they can say whatever they want, and it'll take the government another 50 years to knock that out before they try to shift the goalpost and push something else. So vaping is better for you is a huge fucking lie, because the tobacco companies are like, vaping's bad for you? Prove it.
Yeah.
And it's going to take another couple of
decades.
It's
going to take a while. Don't vape. That's my yeah. And yeah, pop is bad for you, Pikachu. Sugar not great. Yeah, Jovial Rogers says, what's your favorite slammer? Man, I had one that looked like a buzzsaw. It was like a golden saw blade with edges, and so you could get it right there, and oh man, it was nice. Really, really did the job well. Is it okay to whale more if you get wealthier? Yeah, obviously. More money, more problems. So yeah, get more money, you spend more money.
Yeah, I think what people don't realize, and Nidra talks about this a lot, is that some people are like, damn, you spend $200 a month on a gotcha game. For some people,
It's not a lot of money.
that's nothing.
Right.
Yeah, like I think it's really hard for people
But
to
I mean,
grasp that.
it depends on what you're like. So I mean, for me, like everybody's got hobbies, and most men, especially where I've grown up and lived, a lot of men. It's different, I'm sure, in LA, but where I grew up and where I've grown up and spent most of my life, most men have hobbies, and those hobbies are expensive. I'm a hunter. Well, guess what? You buy hunting gear, you buy place, if you don't have a cabin, renting a cabin, buy ammunition, buy guns, buy clothing, blinds, it's expensive. Or, hey, I snowmobile. Guess what? That's expensive. Or I fish. Guess what? That's expensive. Or I tinker with cars. I know there's a lot of people in LA that probably do things with cars. Well, that's expensive. I collect Nike shoes. Like I have every and that's expensive. Like everybody's got your thing, right? Well, right now, like my primary hobbies are DissidiaFFOO. And yes, I use I use some of my funds to buy Lego sets every once in a while. I've only done that a few times over the last few years. But yeah, I mean, I don't play Magic anymore. Gaming is my hobby. Gaming has always been my hobby. It's what I've always spent my money on. And yeah, I don't go to Friday Night Magic. I don't have board game night. We moved during a pandemic. I just don't have those groups.
So much money.
Board
so
games
much
are
money,
super.
Mark.
I know they're super expensive, right? Good board games, several $100s.
Yeah, I did monthly game nights before the pandemic, and I remember like I was just in the store to buy my nephew a birthday present the other day. We went to a board game store, and my friends were like, "Whoa, these new board games are like $60. Is that a lot of money, Mino?" And I was like, "That's pretty standard, yeah. Like that's on the low side. Like they go to $100 easily."
Yeah.
It's
Well,
not even close, right?
come on. I've spent more than $200 on a meal.
Yeah.
Not ever,
Yeah.
but like for me, we can, as a family, it's very hard to go out for under $100. Like, unless you're even McDonald's, like if we went to McDonald's, I mean, you're still talking $50-$60. And that's like McDonald's. Like, so if my wife and I go, there's a real nice restaurant, here in town that we like, if we have a date like day that we can go, the kids are in school. I mean, we're probably spending $150 at this restaurant for lunch, right? Like for dinner, right? So I mean, and it's not a 3 Michelin star restaurant. Downtown Chicago, man, you can spend $500 for some of those meals per plate. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm like, if we went to the Olive Garden as a family, it'd be over $100. Going to Buffalo Wild Wings is probably close to $100. So, I mean, I tip well too, but still, hey, I worked at McDonald's. Don't talk about McDonald's like that. We love McDonald's. But yeah, Jovial Roger says board games are expensive, but you probably get more time per dollar than video games. But do you? Like, I got a lot of board games.
Iffy.
I got a lot of board games, some of which I've never played or played once. I play DissidiaFFOO every day.
Yeah,
I play DissidiaFFOO every day for 3.5 years.
There's a time cost to setting up and tearing down board games.
Oh yeah.
Some of those board games take like an hour to set up. I'm not even kidding. And then put away. Yeah. And then a common complaint in the board game community is that you need to have friends.
You have to have friends.
Like video games, if you play video games, you already know there's a complaint in the video game community. Why is this game offline co-op only? I don't have any friends is a common complaint I see online all the time. Like, wait a minute. Why is this game co-op only? Like, I think A Way Out or something, or It Takes Two, one of those games. And then and that's why even for the board game industry now, a lot of them are coming out with solo variants, right? Like there's a lot of board games now you can buy and play solo, but like you guys have no idea how hard it is to get like 3 or 4 people together and then teach them a complicated ass game that takes an hour to play.
Oh, I know exactly how that is. Yes. I actually know exactly. how it is.
yeah, like anyone who actually plays board games as a hobby, like I do, like very, very fucking regularly. Like I'm really late for an online board game thing right now, and it's the point is like there are a lot of people buy board games that only see the light of day like once or twice. Period. Because you
That's.
never know you could buy a big board game that none of your friends like.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I play DissidiaFFOO every day for the last 3.5 years. I don't know that I've missed a day playing DissidiaFFOO. Maybe one here and there, but over 3.5 years, almost 4 years, played it every day. Maybe 15 minutes some days, maybe an hour some other days, right? Maybe longer. But over the course of that is a huge, a huge return for $80 a month. I'm not paying $200 a month. There have been months I've paid probably $150, but it averages out to about $80 a month since I've started playing the game. Now I earn money back, so that offsets that. But yeah, I mean I feel like that's, like I said, that's $80 is one meal for me as a family. And is the hour that we spend at Buffalo Wild Wings, or take out at Buffalo Wild Wings and bring it home because it's COVID, is that that's worth it for me some days. Is that obviously be cheaper to do other things, but if I did that, is that worth $80 for me? Yeah, sure. Obviously I wouldn't eat there if it wasn't worth $80. I love Buffalo Wild Wings, but yeah, so for me, $80 on a game that I play every day and have for 4 years, yeah, that's well worth it. I don't.
I gotta wrap up soonish, but let me answer some questions here. YouTube Sweetwater Dream says, "Is Orange County the same as the show?" It's very hard for me to say because it's pretty different now than 10, 20 years ago for sure. I think Orange County has a reputation of being a lot of like very conservative. Place now. Very, very like it's all conservative right wing people now.
Yeah, it is the most conservative county in California, right?
Yes, yeah. Yes. And Persona 2 Best Persona says, "How expensive is LA though?" People ask me this all the time. The best way that I've seen to convey it is right before the pandemic, I rented a 1-room apartment, 750 square feet total, complete trash place in the middle of nowhere, 1 bedroom, 1 bath. That was $1,650 a month.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
$1,650 a month for a 750 square foot 1 bedroom.
I've rented houses for cheaper than that, like full ass houses.
And people, every time I tell somebody online that doesn't live in LA, they're like, "That's more than my mortgage. That's more than double my mortgage."
Oh yeah, like yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's expensive.
That's how expensive. Like LA, I think you can look it up. It's one of the most expensive places in the country to live. By far.
I would assume. How much does a cup of coffee? If Macnell's listening later, how much does a cup
of coffee is? Well, let's see. I go to. I'm a pretty basic bitch. I go to Starbucks and get a grande pike. That's like $4.
I was gonna say it's $4, right? Yeah, easily. $4. Yep.
Yeah. People talk about food. Apparently food's not terrible. A very average plain meal for one person is like $20 here.
Yeah.
I think that's higher than other places, but like I've got buddies in like Texas and stuff who say that when they go out, like going out is a luxury, right?
Yeah.
So when they go out with friends for like a date night or like buddies out drinking, they spend more than that per person, which is understandable.
Well,
right.
I mean, like, if you're going to some place where you got a tip or you're drinking, that kind of stuff, it is more expensive. That's why, like, if we go to the winery, which is where my wife and I would go, yeah, we're getting a glass of wine, we're leaving a good tip, we're having good food. So yeah, it's it gets expensive, but that's not something we do every day.
Yeah. But yeah, the rent thing usually hits home, guys. Everyone, it's pretty fucking terrible for sure.
All right. Well, hey, thanks everybody. It's been fun hanging out. Hopefully you don't get too depressed with your life situations. There's always hope. Hold on to hope, people. You're all living your
Spare
best life.
yourself in FF14, guys.
Yeah, yeah.
I think a house there is only like 4 million gil.
Yeah, you
How
just
much
gotta
do you have?
just gotta sit. I don't have 4 million. You just gotta sit and wait. Well, maybe with the new X pack, there'll be new house things, so it's a little bit easier to get a house. I hear that's going to be the reality. We'll see when it happens, but just relax, stay calm, play Defo, involve your life in meta and detach from reality, and maybe you'll get isaki'd or isekai'd or however you say that into a better world where you're surrounded by a
I gotta
by a harem
cut
of
Mark
beautiful
off.
people.
I gotta end it on a more positive message. Okay, I can't let Mark say, hope you get isekai to a better place. That's
I
a
hope
terrible
you die
message.
and live in a better world someday.
So let me just end this on a positive note. Just remember that
PogChamp.
every like 30 minutes you're spending to grind boards or for artifacts or on Defo, somebody else is like getting a degree and fighting for that job
There
you
you go.
want. So just remember, every time you're running that that EX trial for the 100th time for that purple bird
every
to turn into a gold bird.
Every TCC challenge you run is a promotion you missed. Every TCC challenge.
Every time you're leveling another class yet again to 80 and then never touching it again. Every time you grind that relic that took you 700 Praetorium runs, just remember somebody else is using that time to get a job and buy you out of your city.
Yeah.
Just remember that.
Hey, there's worse things than being slime, surrounded by beautiful monster ladies. Have a good night, everybody. Appreciate you all. Love you all. Hope you